As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Friday, September 20th, the day before the weekend, which we're going to cover Lions football today. We're going to cover it on Sunday because we'll have our pregame, our watch party, our postgame. We got a lot planned for the weekend. A lot planned for today. Pack show, special guest, Arizona Cardinals writer who covers them for SI will be joining the show. Sports Illustrated, Fan Nation on Sports Illustrated will be joining the show, give us his perspective. Thought it was very, thought it was fitting that after the whole Doc debacle, we get another guy from
Sports Illustrated. Yeah. That last one was really, the Wednesday was fun.
Yeah. We'll get someone from Sports Illustrated. Shout out to Kyler Burd will be joining the program. But Booner, how we feeling? Last show of the week before the game day shows.
Yeah, I love how you said, hey, it's the last day before the week, and I love that. Great explanation there, Juicy J. I love that. The hair looks good today as well, slicked back. The hair's coming back.
Yeah, it's in that awkward kind of stand-up phase. You know what? We're working.
You have the Booner, which is something you should be honored a little bit.
Yeah, you can call it that. That's fine. Yeah,
I feel good. I'm pumped up. It's Football Friday. That's what I'm calling today. Football Friday. We're ready to roll. Talk some Lions football. Michigan plays tomorrow. Michigan State again. They play Boston College. There's a lot of things going on this weekend. The Tigers are in a wild card race. Like, things are crazy right now. So I cannot wait to talk about everything and to get an Arizona Cardinals beat reporter. Like, that's something there.
Yeah, no, it'll be great. I love, and we do this. We've been doing it every week where we'll have a writer from that whatever team the Lions face to come on the show. We've done it every week so far. So it'll be a blast. I love getting their perspective too. I mean, we hear a lot of like Lions, perspectives. Now we get to get a Cardinals perspective on what they see in the Detroit Lions. So it'll be good. We'll talk more.
Especially with all this Cardinals hype going on right now. I've watched a couple things today. People are pretty pumped up for this Cardinals team, huh? It feels like they're about to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, they have a damn good rookie, which I can't wait to ask him about. But we have the injury report, got some updates on who might play, who might not play. And we also have an injury report update on the Cardinals side, which we'll get to in a second because it will benefit the Detroit Lions. But first, we'll start with the Lions injury report because, guys, at least for the Lions, some updates. And I have the actual graphic that the Lions put out, so I'll put this up here so you guys can see it. And it is players that we've talked about, but here's the injury report, at least from the Lions they put out. Iffy, he's out. And honestly, Dan talked about him potentially being an IR. Not yet, but he is out for this game.
Yeah.
He's slowly coming along. Ennis Rakestraw, hamstring out, which, he's not really playing much anyway. Alex Anzalone, questionable. That's the big one. If I had to give you a prediction here, I think he plays. We'll see.
I hope so.
I think he plays, but that's not the here or there. Taron Arnold, illness, questionable. I think he also plays. Again, this is just my opinion. I think he plays as well. Graham, Glasgow, he is questionable. Dan kind of gave an update, said he's trending in a positive direction. So I think he plays as well. And Isaiah Williams, abdomen, questionable. Not sure with him. We'll see how that trends. I haven't heard much about Isaiah Williams, but at least 3 of the 4 guys questionable. I'm pretty confident they will play, Booner, if I'm giving you my perspective on it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The Rakestraw one, that's just a special teams loss. The Iffy one, I don't know what's going on with that. Like today, Dan mentioned like we're not going to put him on IR, so that means by next week you're expecting him to come back because you should have just thrown him on IR if you thought it was going to be 4 weeks. So you would think that this is the last game that he's out. The other 4 guys, though, I'm interested to see who's in because I do think Anzo and Terrion, like Graham's in. I'm just going to say that. I know he's questionable. Graham's in. Dan talked today about Graham Glasgow and said he's good to go. So I don't know if that was Dan just kind of accidentally putting his hand out there and putting the cards out there saying Graham's good to go. And then later they're like, let's try and play this one close. The two that are really worrying me, and I'm really like they need to play, is Terrion and Alex Anzalone. Unless they're like not going to be able to go 100% or even 90%, but like you need those guys. I do think that like Terrion with Carlton Davis, like you need to have your corners, your top corners out there, and then you need to have Anzo out there. Like I do trust Jack to be able to step up, but versus Kyler Murray, I don't know. There's going to be a couple extra plays that are probably made if Alex Anzalone isn't playing football on Sunday. And that's, to me, that's where the problem is. It's like there hasn't been like a positive, like Dan said, like, oh, well, Anzo, he's going to be out on practice today. He has to see how he feels. We'll know more later. That makes me nervous. It's like they're trying to get him back, but if somehow, some way the concussion protocol holds him out on Sunday, then that's going to be like, that's when it's brutal. And I think Anzo's a big piece to winning this football game on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially with not only Kyler's mobility, but his open field tackling. I mean, the dude is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
You're going to miss that. You're going to miss his leadership, his presence. I mean, it's hard to measure his value if he's out. Like, it's tough. I mean, I know we talked, Chet Campbell will be ready, and the coaching staff's confident he'll be ready, but Anzalone is important to this defense. So I'm with you there. I mean, that's probably one of the guys I'm more concerned about.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I hope he, because if not, it would probably be Vildor or Dorsey, because Amik Robertson's in the slot and Ennis Rakestraw's out. So that
if he's out too, never mind. I was gonna say unless they move Branch back to slot and then they move Amik over. That's the only thing that I could think of. Or if Rakestraw was good, that's the problem right now. To be honest, is your top two backups in their secondary are both out on Sunday, hamstring and whatever if he's going through. Like that's where it gets a little tough if you go down a guy like Terrion, to where like we had the conversations in camp when we were there. We were like, all right, Ennis is like your sixth man in that secondary essentially, and same with Iffy. To where if you need to move guys around, get Branch back to nickel and make the. So, like, you're in a bad spot now. You have two guys that are out, and those are your two guys that are supposed to be your backups to step up. And now you have Terrion out, and now you're going to have to go to a Kendall Vildor or something. Like, you're going to have to – which, I mean, he could step up, but –
I will say this. On the Cardinals side, they have Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. as their two outside wide receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr., I know, will be matched up with Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
Because it fits his skill set. He always does better. At least he did pretty good against Mike Evans. He does, and I know there's familiarity there, but he does better against bigger wide receivers. And that's what it's been like in his career, or at least guys that smaller, like they have Greg Dortch in the slot. That's going to be Amik Robertson's job. And Carlton's your best corner, so you're not putting him on Michael Wilson. So he's going to be on Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison Jr. is great. He's amazing. I like Carlton Davis's chances to at least keep him in check. It's going to be hard to shut him down. That doesn't happen in today's NFL, but at least keep him in check. Like I'm more and more confident now. It's about that defensive line as well. But that's going to be a matchup I'm definitely interested in, is Carlton Davis on Amik Robertson. Carlton's got long arms. He's savvy. He's been in the league. He's seen a lot of guys, maybe not quite to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s ability, but very similar. So I'm confident in Carlton Davis this week.
Yeah, I am confident in that. I'm just more so that second corner. I know they don't have like a ton of wide receivers that you should be worried about. It's just more so.
Yeah, like Michael Wilson doesn't put fear in my eyes.
No, I just think it's more so you want to have your best guys on the field, and it's like if someone's going to be out, all right, you need to have your best backups, and if both of your best backups are out too, you're in a bad spot. Like that's not a great position to be in. But I'm with you on that. I do it in like the Anzo thing too, like. Trey McBride, like that's a good tight end, and that's probably Anzo at times is going to be matched up with him, and he's going to have some times to where if Anzo's out, all right, that's Jack Campbell. We've seen Jack Campbell in coverage at times. Having him in times going to be with Trey McBride, that could be a problem. So like defensively, two of your guys that could be in coverage could be out, and that's where you're like, all right. Take a deep breath, fellas.
Yeah, because he's your best cover linebacker. That's like his value. Derek Barnes is someone that you put on the edge. Dude's great playing the Sam linebacker position. He's good. He's a great open field tackler, except for when it's Dak Prescott. But you get my point. In general, he's fine. Like I'm confident in Derek Barnes. Him and Jack, though, aren't cover linebackers yet, at least for Jack's. I mean, I think Jack can get there. But Anzalone has shown he's a great cover linebacker. He's your best cover linebacker this year and last year. Undoubtedly. So, yeah, that loss will be significant. I'll tell you what, though. The Cardinal side, I saw Jonathan Gannon say something today, which I think is significant.
Love this.
Significant. And it's been like this the last 2 weeks for whatever reason, and it might happen a third time. He spoke. They asked him. Calvin Beachum, who's the starting right tackle for the Cardinals, he's been questionable. They asked Jonathan Gannon about it. He said, we'll see, because he's dealing with a hamstring. Could this mean Aiden Hutchinson is facing another backup tackle this week? Like, if we know what he's done the last 2 weeks, Boone, I mean, he's leading the league in sacks. So this will be another opportunity for Aiden Hutchinson to go out there and wreck a game. They're going to have to double him. They're going to have to chip him. They're going to have to find a way to protect. I mean, they're going to have to find a way after what he's just did the last game, but the last two games, it's going to be a tough task for that Cardinals offensive line, and that's where Kyler's mobility comes into it. He's going to have to be super mobile this week to avoid Aiden.
That's what. So the Arizona Cardinals tweeted out their game statuses. Calvin Beachum questionable with a hamstring. And also, Greg Dortch is questionable with the hamstring. When you see hamstring, those are the ones where it might take a little bit of time.
Oh, wait, hold on. It might be the third string. Sorry, Ryan. He's a backup.
Oh, so we're good. So the starter's in.
No. No. This might be an absolute domination for me.
Wait. So their starter's out like completely.
Yeah, it's even worse than I anticipated. I didn't even know. And maybe I'll ask
Jonah
Kyler
Williams
when he joins. Kyler
yeah,
Burd.
we have to figure that one out, because that's it. Yeah, honestly, and this is the thing with Aiden Hutchinson. This is where it's going to come down to. I don't want to hear anyone, national media, and you know who brings it up the most?
Who?
Local media. Those are the people who are like, oh, Aiden Hutchinson's dominating. He's dominating. And then you hear those guys, those people in the back, those SOL crowd, those John Macaroons of the world. Well, that was a backup tackle, right? I don't care if it was a backup tackle. You're in the NFL. If you want to stop Aiden Hutchinson, figure something out. But Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to go out there this week. Guys, I said yesterday 1 tackle or 1 sack. He's probably going to have a sack and a half to 2 sacks again this week. And he's going to go out there. You have 5.5 right now. Leave this week with 7. Like, be on pace to go out there and break the NFL record through 3 weeks. Like, 7 sacks in 3 weeks. Imagine that, Jeff. Like, that is unbelievable.
I mean, I'll say this. Boone. And I said this when you said it. When people look back at guys that have had 17, 18, 19 sacks, whatever the number is, I've never heard one person say, oh, yeah, so-and-so had 16, 17, 18 sacks, but he faced a lot of backups that year.
Never.
I've never, to be fair, I've never heard anyone say that. So
Doesn't
I don't think
happen.
In the moment, people bring it up, but when the season is over and they're giving out awards, dude, no one cares. No one cares. So I'm with you on that. No one cares.
Either you dominate or you don't. And he takes advantage. Like, you can only do with what's in front of you. Like, you can't change you can't change who you're facing. You're in the NFL.
No, it's not Aiden's fault.
It's man versus man, right tackle versus Aiden Hutchinson. Who's going to get the job done? If you have a backup, that's your fault. That's the Cardinals' fault for not having a great backup or having someone to be able to come over and help with Aiden Hutchinson. Like, find a scheme and get it done. But I think Aiden Hutchinson, I think there's going to be times, and this is what I love about this year with Kyler Murray, and why I feel a little bit better about this whole mobile quarterback and this thing, the containing of it. Like, I do think this defensive line is going to be able to contain Kyler Murray just because of the 2 guys you have off the edge and the 2 guys you have in the middle. Like, once you have that defensive line that's just stout like they are, and in a pass rush, that's where it's like, unless now you've seen times in the past, you've seen guys like Hutch and other guys on the edge kind of get drawn up the field a little bit, and Kyler Murray just go right by the right side and kind of get out. So, like, unless that happens, but you have to be disciplined. You have to be able to get to the quarterback and just give hell to Kyler Murray all day long. Like, that's all it is. And I think they do it. Like, Hutch, I don't care if it's a backup tackle. Go out there and compete and go show you're the best in the league.
I'm more skeptical than you about it. You're because the reason, and this is why it's hard for guys like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and Justin Fields was like this. It's hard to like simulate that in practice. Like, you can even Hendon Hooker. Like, yeah, you can throw a mobile quarterback on scout team and kind of like, simulate a mobile quarterback. but it's hard to simulate what he can do or Lamar can do. Like you won't really know till they get out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I get what you're saying. Like, they have the defensive line is capable because of the talent, but until they get out there and Kyler Murray snaps the ball and his 5'10", 5'11" ass running around and everyone's trying to get him. Like, even ETN, Rams fan, by the way, in the chat, he put, we got pressure on Kyler last week. We just couldn't get him. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing this week. It's not like he's hard to He's hard to tackle. He's not hard to bring down, obviously. He's not a big guy, but he's hard to grab. He's quick. And that's going to be one of the biggest X factors this week is keeping him contained to some extent. Now, Dan Campbell did talk about being on the road, which I'll get to, and we'll have that conversation because I do think there might be a piece of this where it might be a good thing. But let's hear from Dan Campbell on them playing on the road after 2 back-to-back home games. Let's hear directly from Dan Campbell.
Special about going on the road, and you mentioned the first one. It's, I really do feel like it's kind of perfect right now. We had 2 home games. We love being at home. But, we lose a tough one there last week. And I think, man, it can recenter you, because you go on the road, it's just you, and now we'll probably have some fans there. There's no question. But until we give our fans something to cheer about, it's just us. And, they'll be into it over there. Those guys are going to play hard. And so you just kind of get in your bunker, man, and it's just you guys. And it's, I don't know, man, that camaraderie, there's something about it, when you're put under a lot of stress and you got to make decisions, you got to play for one another, and everything's kind of against you, man. It really makes, I think it bonds your team.
Now, he talked about it, and everything he said is correct. The Lions, I looked back at Dan Campbell's first 3 years coaching and what he's done on the road, because I do remember his first year in the league when I was on air. Big shout to Adam. That was our biggest question, because his first year he was 0-8-1 on the road. Terrible team though. But
it was brutal. It was brutal.
But that was the only thing we had. That was the only data we had. It's like, okay, they haven't won on the road. They didn't win on the road at all his first year. The second year, they go 4-7. I think, 4-7. Yeah. And then last year they go 6-3.
Yep.
So Dan Campbell's record so far as the Detroit Lions head coach, 10-18-1 on the road. So, which again is heavily skewed by that first year. Last year, the 6-3 on the road is what I care more about. Impressive, and they got better on the road. It seems like this team is more comfortable playing on the road. And Dan Campbell, a lot of what Dan said about who they brought in, who Brad has drafted. I mean, these guys have played at big schools. They draft a lot of Alabama players, guys that have played in big games. And Jared Goff's played in a ton of big games. It doesn't really phase a lot of these guys. It just doesn't. So them on the road after 2 home games, the pressure, the fans, like, it's a great thing. But sometimes it can be not a bad thing, but sometimes it's tough when you're at home back-to-back games and you have all the pressure and all the, now on the road, it's like, okay, now the Cardinals have a lot of pressure on them, as well. So I think this team playing this week, it's a good thing they're on the road. And I do think it'll be a good thing after we talk about it on Monday, because I do think the Lions will win. We'll get to our final scores later in the game. But I think it's a good thing, Booner, after 2 back-to-back tough home games, you go on the road against an inferior opponent to both the teams you played. Well, the Rams, not so much now because they have injuries, but at the time, before all the injuries were announced. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing this week. I do.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions, like that, like you said, the first couple of years it was tough. Like, you're like, we don't want to go on the road. Like, it felt like last year, only going 6-3 on the road is really good, in my opinion, in the NFL. Like, if you're winning your home games and you end up going 6-3, your record's great at the end of the season. Like, that is an unbelievable record. So, listen, I don't think that the road environment is going to change the Detroit Lions at all. Like, I posted a video today on our Twitter, Jeff, and it was I don't know if you guys remember this last year. Any single road game that the Lions had, Lions fans were there. Like, Lions fans have shown up, they show out, and they will make sure that they're very well known that they are in attendance that night. And I think that's what it's going to be in Arizona. I've been listening to a lot of different people I've been seeing on social media. Jeff, there's a lot of people going to this game, like more than you probably expect. And I'm shocked. Like I was on Twitter or X, and people were commenting and saying like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Arizona. I'm going to be in Arizona." Like, I think there's going to be a packed Lions fans. You're going to see a lot of Honolulu blue. It's not going to be obviously a full home environment for the Lions, but there is going to be a little bit of an advantage. Not like fully for the Lions, but typically like the advantage goes to the home team and the crowd's loud. If you have fans in attendance, they take that away. And then automatically, if it's like a neutral site, in my opinion, or if it's even close to a neutral site, I feel like that makes it to where it's like, all right, you already won that advantage. And it's not even like you're on the road anymore. And the only reason it feels like you're on the road is because you had to stay in a hotel. So like I think this is going to be a big time game for them. And especially being a bounce back game, having to travel on the road, you just came off a loss. Like it's going to make sure that they're that much more locked in. Because as much as people love to play at home, guys, when you go on road trips, that's all you're locked into. Is for the, like, I think they leave maybe tomorrow, probably in the morning. You're just locked into the game. You don't have any like family or friends around. Maybe you do if you're from Arizona, but like the only thing you're focused on for the next 48 hours or 24 hours is game day. And when you're at home, like you have to go home, you have family, all of that. Like you might have some people coming in and visiting. No, on the road, it's just strictly football. And I think that's good coming off of a loss when you're sitting there and you're like, all right, no distractions, fellas. We have to win this football game. Let's go on the road. We're in the hotel. Everyone lights out at this time. We're going to have dinner here. Like everything's set in stone and like you're just absolutely dialed in. That's where I think Dan Campbell's going to have this team ready to roll. I think this whole week, the preparation of it leading up. So I'm kind of, I'm not going to lie. I don't want to say like, oh, I love playing on the road. I actually like this week coming off a loss, going to Arizona and being like, all right, let's go take all the distractions of being at home out of it. And let's just go win let's just focus on football. Let's not think about the Lions fans that are all 70,000 watching us. Let's just go to Arizona, think about just football for the next 48 hours.
And I want to add too, I'm an idiot. It was 4-4. So actually he's 10-15-1. Sorry. Okay. I got that wrong. It looked like a different number. My handwriting isn't the best. But
no. That's
10-15-1. I was looking at it, I'm like, that's got to be wrong. 10-15-1, not 10-18-1. 10-15-1. So, but the point is, heavily skewed by that first year. If you look at the last 2 years, 4-4, 6-3, he's 10-7 over the last 2 years. So improved record. Take out the first year. I know it's hard to do that, but 10-7 on the road over the last 2 years.
That's good.
That's
not great. Not great, but that's good.
Record on the road. So that's okay. And again, playing on the road isn't easy. Not saying it's easy, but what I'm saying is for this team right now, with these circumstances, losing a game at home, I think it could be good to get out to Arizona. There'll be a lot of Lions fans, and you know how it is on the road in the NFL. If you lose, you got a flight back. Well, are they at home the next week?
They have a flight back no matter what. They're flying back.
Regardless. All right. Yeah, well, yes. Regardless. You have a long flight. All right. So you don't want to take an L and then get on that airplane and get a long flight back. All right. So there's a little bit extra motivation there. You want to be on that plane celebrating a victory. So I think they'll be all right this week.
I just want to throw this out there. Like, you can't, you don't lose this football game. Like Dan Campbell, be ready to go. Like, if a coaching mistake back-to-back weeks cost you, and I don't care if it was David Phipp or if it was Dan, I don't care who it was. Like, it's the head coach, Jeff. Like on Monday, I went off on it. Like, this is your team. If you're not passing the ball well, and you need to get like in the red zone, you need to start running it more. Step up and say something. Like Dan Campbell needs to step up this week and have a big game for him. I know it's crazy being like the head coach needs to step. No, he does. Like at the end of the day, he does. Same with Ben Johnson needs to have this thing figured out in the red zone. They need to have a game plan. They need to know what they're going to do in the red zone. And same with Jared Goff. Like Jared Goff, I know he's had these interviews all week talking about, like, I need to take care of the ball. No, just go play football and win a football game. Like, play football. Get back to what you were last year when you were playing at your best. Move on from the first 2 weeks. Like, these guys, like, they shouldn't even be thinking about a loss. Like, these three guys that had tough weeks last week, like, bring it this week. Like, show up Sunday. There's no reason Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, or Dan Campbell should have a bad week back-to-back weeks. If they do that, I'm not more concerned about the loss. I'm more concerned about what's going on with that. Because, like, if you're a contending team and a Super Bowl team, your quarterback can't have bad back-to-back weeks. Your OC, who's supposed to be the best in the NFL, why is he having a bad back-to-back week now, or really 3 straight? and then your head coach, like, he cost you another game. Like, no, that cannot happen back-to-back weeks. Like, you need to prove that you can win football games. You messed up, show that you can fix your mistakes, move on, and win a football game. I don't care where it's at or what the spread is, anything. Go win a football game.
Let's bring in Klotzy, because we're gonna have our guest short in a couple of minutes.
What's up, Klotzy?
Let's bring in Mr. Lukas Klotz. Klotz,
How are we, fellas? Doing great. Did we just get done having like a passionate discussion or something, boys? You look a little angry when I joined.
No, hey, it's a Friday before the game. It's like, here we go.
Yeah,
coming off a loss, it's like it's dialed in. It's like feels like game day. I feel like I feel like I should be drinking Kool-Aid right now. Like, I'm pumped up.
Only on game days, Boone.
It's crazy when
draft.
You know what's crazy? Is when I get passionate, like on Monday or today, there's like people who are like, Booner, why are you so mad? But then when I try and be like, all right, guys, let's cheer up, people are like, why can't we be mad? They're like, why can't we be mad? And it's like, all right, now what are we doing here?
No.
Shout out.
And let me say this. I'm feeling good.
I'm with you, boys.
Good vibes. I want to add to Booner's point about the importance of this game. I know you talked about there is no reason Lions should lose this week. The Chiefs are 2-0, and Pat Mahomes is not playing well. Okay, it doesn't matter about how the team. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, the Bengals, they played a very good game against the Chiefs. Didn't matter. Chiefs won. Found a way to win. Do it this week. If they lose, will I be concerned? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's early, but there's no reason you should lose to the Cardinals. There's no reason you should lose to the Cardinals. I'm not saying the game should be a blowout, but what I'm saying is find a way to win. And to everything Booner said about who needs to step up, who needs to respond this week, he's absolutely right. I did my impact players, Jared Goff. This week, I'm expecting a bounce-back performance. Not 5 touchdown passes, but damn, man. And Ben Johnson, probably the biggest one I'm looking at. Like, how does this offense look? The offensive line, can you run the ball effectively? And in the red zone, especially. I think Ben talked about it. They had 7 runs in the red zone, go for 3 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
There's no way that happens this week against the Cardinals.
The damn shotgun.
I refuse.
That's where I just get so passionate about this offense. So it's like there's no way this offensive line allows that to happen again. No way that they go out there and this offensive line can't help kind of go out there in the red zone and get it multiple times. That's been the thing with this offensive line. Like, Jamal Williams had, what was it, 17 or 18 touchdowns with this offensive line. And the offensive line last week, D-Mont punched one in. But when you got in the red zone, you struggled a little bit in the run game. And we've never seen that out of this line and these running backs. You have some of the best running backs in the NFL and the best offensive line. It's like, all right, there's no way this keeps happening. This thing's going to click. And if the offense is – people don't think about this. If the offense is flowing with the JMO stuff and the Amon-Ra and they get Sam LaPorta involved, and last week, you're making your way up the field. You're in the red zone 7 times. It's unheard of. If the defensive or the offensive line gets going and the run game actually picks up and you're moving the ball and getting 7 red zone possessions, that's a very good offense. That's a tough offense to stop.
Yep, I agree. And it's time. It's 8:30. I want to welcome on our guest.
Here we go.
Cover the Arizona Cardinals, staff writer for Fan Nation on Sports Illustrated, Mr. Kyler Burd. Reached out to him. He hit me back. He said, I'll join the show, which I do appreciate him. We do this every single week. We try to bring on whoever the Lions are facing, someone in that market that covers the team. Love to hear their perspective. So please welcome to the show, Kyler Burd. Kyler, how you doing, my man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. And I do want to pick your brain, Kyler, because I know, at least from a different perspective, we spent a lot of time here talking about the Detroit Lions, who they're facing. We were talking earlier about the injury to your guy, and you can kind of break this down a little more for me, because it's been a conversation. He's leading the league in sacks, but people bring up typically, well, he's faced back-to-back tackles. It seems like he might face another backup this week, Kyler. Can you give some insight to the injury situation going on at that tackle position?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a massive point of concern right now. Kelvin Beachum is already the backup, and it seems that, Wednesday this week in practice kind of went down, maybe a knee thing. Nothing's been confirmed. Jonathan Gannon is pretty notoriously close to the vest as far as injury reports go. And so we don't really have much there. He said in his press conference today that he thinks Beachum will be okay. What that means for Sunday, I don't know. No one really does. But if that means we're going to a third string backup at right tackle, then I'm genuinely afraid of Aiden Hutchinson and what he could do, because losing Jonah Williams in the first quarter of that Bills game was already a pretty big blow to the Cardinals offensive line. But Kelvin Beachum played decently last week against the Rams, actually. But if we got to go to that third option, then we're looking at maybe Isaiah Adams, who's that third-round rookie that we took this year out of Illinois, who really is more of a guard, but he did play a little bit of tackle at Illinois. And then there are some practice squad guys that have been called up, which is not like a super great sign for the potential of Beachum playing. But there are some options there. Aiden Hutchinson might have a great game against the right side of the line this week.
Oh.
Man, I want to kind of just stay on the offense here, especially that's kind of been the Lions. Our offense has struggled a little bit, and the defense is starting to step up, and we're not really used to that. But now going this week, one thing the Lions defense has struggled with is mobile quarterbacks. And obviously Kyler Murray seems to be back after that injury, and he looks very, very good the first 2 weeks. What are your expectations, I guess, just with Kyler, and as well as like the weapons around him with James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr.? Like, what are you looking this week versus the Lions defense? What do the Lions have to do to even stop a guy like Kyler Murray and slow him down?
When Kyler Murray is on at his very best, we've kind of seen across the league, there's not that much you can do against him. I do think he was kind of held back schematically during the Cliff Kingsbury years, if we're being honest. Just a guy that has the level of football talent of Kyler Murray, not having had the career that many of us expected him to have. But here in his 6th year, he just seems so comfortable with the Gannon regime, and he seems comfortable with all the guys around him. And going into the season, as a Cardinals reporter and fan, we all expected the offense to be really good. They have the pieces around them. It seems like Kyler finally has legitimate wide receiver options. James Conner is continuing to do James Conner things. And then the offensive line going into the year, I think, was a little bit underrated. We've kind of had this lingering reputation in Arizona of a bad offensive line that kind of comes from those really, really rough 2018, 2019 years. But having Paris Johnson Jr. at left tackle, I think he's really flourishing there. It's the right side of the line that's just a little bit iffy, but you still have a right guard in Will Hernandez, who's very good. Really arguably one of the best guards in the league right now. And at their best, I think the Cardinals offense is tough to beat for any defense, because I think what we saw in week 1 that we didn't really know that we were seeing was the Cardinals offense going up against what looks like a really good Bills team. And we all kind of expected the Bills defense to maybe take a step back this year just for missing so many people from their previous runs. But the Bills defense looks good. The Bills offense looks good. I think how we view week 1 now, as far as how the Cardinals offense operated that week, looks a lot better. I think it's a high-powered offense, but Detroit has a serious defense too. And I think kind of the key for a Detroit team looking to stop Kyler Murray would be to start with stopping James Conner. Because if you let James Conner go and then you let Kyler Murray be that secondary running option that keeps everyone on their toes as well, that is incredibly hard to beat when you've got a bruising back like James Conner doing his thing. So if you can get that pressure up on the front defensive line and in your front 7, I think that's going to go a long way. And I think you also just have to be super cautious, and you have to put a spy on Kyler Murray. You cannot play a game against the Cardinals without having someone looking after him, because he's one of the purest rushing threats at the quarterback position right now that kind of gets overlooked when you've got the Lamars in the world. But you definitely have to keep an eye on that, or he's going to put 60 or 70 yards on the ground against you.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Now, Kyler, flipping over to the other side of the ball, defensively for the Cardinals, which matchups personnel-wise, from a Cardinals perspective, do you have the most confidence in? And then which matchups you're kind of like, I think Detroit's going to have their way there. Because I think on the front 7, there's definitely some matchup to exploit. But I think when you look at Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, I think that's one of the best safety rooms in the NFL.
Yeah, the backside of the secondary is great. Jalen Thompson, Buda Baker, I think have proven themselves over the past couple of years to be, if not the best, one of the best safety duos in the league. But I do think there's going to be some serious matchup problems as far as playing man coverage, one-on-one Arizona cornerbacks against a lot of these Lions receivers. You just have fast, strong, good, tall guys at receiver that I think are pretty bad mismatches with a lot of what Arizona's running with on the outside. We just did not make a huge push in this offseason to get a huge name cornerback. And then we went with Darren Robinson in the late part of the first round instead of going with secondary there as well. So I think there are some weaknesses there. Sean Murphy-Bunting's kind of the standard CB1 that we've got. And if we're going to be playing any of that man coverage that Nick Rawlis likes, and you're putting Sean Murphy-Bunting against someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's a serious mismatch. So I do think he's going to get behind the defense a lot. I do think the Cardinals are going to have to rely on Buda and Jalen to sort of mop up a lot of those missed things. On the front, kind of in the front seven, I think Mac Wilson and Kaiser White have actually been a pretty underrated duo at inside linebacker. And they're going to have a tough go of it with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. But I think that's going to be key to the defensive performance, is just not letting the Lions run. If you let Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery run on you and then make that game even harder by opening stuff up on the outside for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams and the others, and Sam LaPorta in the middle too, I think you just have to control the run to have any chance at it, or things could get out of hand pretty fast with that Lions offense.
Last one for me, Kyler. At least a guy that me and Lucas have been high on, and everyone has been high on here, even before the combine. And in college football, you see Lucas. He has the Ohio State hoodie on. I mean, this guy, Marvin Harrison Jr., is a freak. And I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I needed him to play well last week. He did. This week, him versus Carlton Davis. Can give me some insight to what he's meant to this offense. I know the first week he was wide open and Kyler had to address it and everything. But your confidence in his ability this week to continue and build on what he did last week?
I've got full confidence in MHJ. I really do. The overreaction after week one, it was just a thing. He's a rookie. Things like that happen. But week two, I kind of think just dispelled any doubts that anyone could have about the guy. He showed everything he possibly could have ever shown in college as an elite, like top tier receiver. And that game, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns in 1 quarter. That just kind of blows your mind. Now, it is concerning that he disappears for the rest of that game. That is a little bit concerning. But I think he's going to be the focus through which the entire Cardinals offense works through. Kyler Murray, his entire career has been hamstrung a little bit by not having that one specific target. He had like one season really with D-Hop at his prime where both of them were healthy and they really had that connection going. And that was great. We saw an amazing season from that 1,400 something yard season from D-Hop that year, but that's really been it. And I think if we've seen in the past few years with Amon-Ra, with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, that wide receivers don't have that like 2 to 3 year period of where they got to break into the league anymore. They just come in and they're ready to go and they're professionals. And I think Marvin Harrison has the pedigree to do that. He's been around professional sports his entire life. He talks like a pro. His press conference after that game was mostly him just being mad that Kyler Murray's incompletions were to him. He wasn't really that concerned that he got 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was super mad that he dropped 2 potential touchdowns and that all of Kyler Murray's incompletions were sent his way, were his targets. So I think he has every element that he needs to be the number one guy. And he just opens up everything. The number one guy always does. And then you've got dangerous guys like Trey McBride too, that you really have to be careful of in the middle, because Trey McBride can be a game wrecker, and he definitely has that ability. But Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to be the future. And if that's a long-term connection there, I think that's going to be a super successful one. But against Carlton Davis specifically, Carlton Davis, he's got the experience. But Marvin Harrison Jr., he's got that sneaky speed, and he's got a size that's kind of hard to beat, that torso that's so long, that 6'3" frame. I mean, we saw him leap 5 yards into the end zone just to get a score last week. He's capable of some incredible stuff. So I won't be that shocked if we do see some over-the-top things, just placing the ball where only he can get it, if Carlton Davis is going to be that guy who's following him predominantly through the game. But I think he's got some good matchups against the Lions secondary.
Yeah, and Kyler, other side of the ball here, because one thing I think it's been pretty obvious, and I think the whole nation knows it, is like the Lions offense has struggled through 2 weeks now, and that was complete opposite of what everyone thought. And like going up against a defensive mind like Todd Bowles last week, you kind of saw him take advantage of some things. Do you think, like with Jonathan Gannon, obviously a really good defensive-minded head coach, what are your thoughts on like not knowing, especially with this Lions offense where it's like any week he could finally start clicking and things could come together? Do you think that it's going to be a tougher matchup for him just because like with the defense that you guys have there, like not knowing what the Lions offense is going to do this week? Or is it, hey, let's just do what Todd Bowles did last week and let the Lions adjust? What do you think is going to happen there with that matchup?
I think from what I've seen of Gannon, he's not so cocky that he won't take what works from other coaches and make it work for him. Yep. He's a student of the game. And I do think in a lot of ways, Jonathan Gannon and Dan Campbell are similar coaches to me, just kind of in the way they approach the game and the way they approach their players. Because the players play hard for Jonathan Gannon. I think if you look at the paper specifically, there's huge mismatches with Lions and the Cardinals defensive players. If you looked only at the names on the roster, there's not a ton of talent on that side of the ball for Arizona. But they, last year specifically, even though it was a 4-13 year, they played way harder than the talent that you see listed on the roster. I think Gannon's going to look at what Todd Bowles did. But what I will say that I'm worried about for the Cardinals is I think we're meeting the Lions at a very bad time. Because I do think because of who Dan Campbell is as a person and a coach, and how much blame he seemed to place on himself for that loss last week, that's going to be a super motivated Detroit team, super motivated. And those players are going to play for their coach. And I think Dan Campbell's going to be super ready. I think I also saw this morning that in the last couple seasons, the Lions are 8-0 after a loss. They've lost many back-to-back games.
Why? Yeah.
And that's concerning. I think Dan Campbell, he takes the hints when he makes mistakes, but Jonathan Gannon is a very similar coach too. So he's going to see what worked against the Rams, who are not a team to sneeze at, even if they are a little bit undermanned right now. He's going to see what worked there. He's going to see what Todd Bowles did against your offense. But I do think that third game of the season is where we start to sort of see what teams are actually made of. And I don't think the Lions are made of what they showed last week. I don't. They're a good team who went far last year, and I think are going to go far this year too. They're kind of my NFC favorites preseason, and I'm going to stick by that. I think they're a very good team. They're coached really well, and that offense underperformed. I mean, there's no way around that. They just did. And I don't think they're going to do that 2 weeks in a row. So I do think that they are going to put up points against an Arizona defense. But on the other hand, I think the Cardinals are going to keep the offensive thing rolling, and it's going to be a shootout. It would be my prediction there.
Kyler, I like you. I think you're staying unbiased. You're just telling it how it is. I respect it. But a guy that you brought up previously when talking about Marvin Harrison is Trey McBride. And he's somebody that, as Detroit Lions fan, we love Sam LaPorta. I could imagine as Arizona Cardinals supporters, you love Trey McBride because he had a hell of a season last year. And I think he's definitely been off to a better start than LaPorta, but I don't think he's off to the start that some Cardinals fans expected. Do you think he gets it going this week against the Lions? Because the defense is impressive, but so is Trey McBride as a player. He's just extremely talented.
Trey McBride, man, he's something that Cardinals have not seen in such a long time. We're just not a franchise that's been known to have solid tight ends like that. So he's such a new shiny toy for Cardinals fans, and he's definitely a fan favorite. I think this is kind of a tougher matchup for him than you would think on paper. But I do think that Kyler Murray is going to make kind of a concerted effort to go there in the middle of the field. To Trey McBride, he had some very impressive catches last week against the Rams too. So he's getting going. But I think we all kind of knew that with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming into the building, Trey McBride probably isn't going to be your leading receiver like he was last year. But he is going to be that blanket for Kyler Murray at all times. And the connection that they have, McBride's the tallest guy on the team. He's the guy who can get those high point balls. And I think Murray knows that. So I'd always be looking for him in the red zone. He's a super red zone threat. I do find it interesting that his only touchdown this year has been on a fumble recovery. That was a fun way for him to get his first touchdown.
That's crazy.
But he'll get going too. I think he is kind of Kyler's second option. Michael Wilson is a solid number 2, but the drop-off between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride to the rest of the weapons there is a little bit of one. You got to admit that, but he is a solid player. And I think he'll have a good game.
Well, Kyler, before we get you out of here, appreciate you for joining. I got to get your score prediction.
Of course.
Give me a score prediction, Kyler. What do you think?
You know, I do feel like I have to be a homer on this, but also just being realistic.
That's fair.
Being realistic, I do think this is a game that's going to teach both teams a lot about who they actually are this season. And Kyler Murray has not beat the Lions yet. He is I think he's lost twice and he's tied once. His very first game as a rookie, he tied the Lions. 27-27. But I think this is going to be pretty high scoring, but I'm going to go something like 34 Lions, 31 Arizona on a field goal in the 4th. I think it's just going to come down to whoever has the ball last, honestly.
Yeah.
I will say this, Kyler. Last week, our Bucs guy, Stephen Shea, picked the Lions to win, and then the Lions lost. So he was it was like a good way to be wrong. So you could be going back-to-back weeks here. Hopefully not, but –
yeah, hey, that's fair. That's fair.
Maybe it works out for us, yeah.
Well, Kyler, appreciate you so much. And I know we went a little over time, but again, easily the best guest we've had yet, at least from other teams. So keep up the great work. Give Kyler a follow. Link will be in the description. Kyler, good luck this weekend, my friend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good luck, everybody.
Appreciate it,
Kyler Burd. Check his stuff out. Again, covers the Arizona Cardinals for Fan Nation and Sports Illustrated. Fan Nation on Sports Illustrated. But guys, you heard it from him. A lot. I like the perspective there because, again, the stuff that we talk about from our perspective, Kyler was chiming in on some stuff that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
So, hey, appreciate him.
Mm-hmm. The thing I loved about it the most, and it's been something that we've talked about a lot, and I have some stats later in the Lions off a bounce back week. It's like in the last 2 seasons with Dan Campbell, since the Lions have gotten good and a legit roster, that's Dan Campbell's. It's when does a player perform at his best? You see that with quarterbacks and stuff, in these conditions and this and that. Dan Campbell's best performances come after a loss. So you don't want to play Dan Campbell and this Detroit Lions team after a loss, because I don't think it's just Dan anymore. I think his mindset has gotten turned into like Hutch has it now, and Goff and Amon-Ra and Panay, they all have that mindset now. After a loss, we never want to do that again. And now it's a trickle down effect in the organization. And honestly, I'll say, do you want me to say the stat now? The Lions have covered in 8 straight games after losing. So those last 8 games they've won, they've covered in them. And I think Jim Costa tweeted it out. I think they've won by a handful of those games by 2 touchdowns. And I think at minimum every single game was 5 points or something at least. So they go out there after a loss and they dominate. There's nothing behind it. Klotzy, sorry about that.
I was just saying, I thought it was perfect what you were saying, because I think when you see players resemble their coach's identity, that's when you know you have a good team. For example, I know it's early, but you even look at what he's doing in college. Harbaugh's teams, they always match what Harbaugh's persona is. I think if you look at Jim Harbaugh, even in Baltimore, Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, those great coaches that are winning for a long time consistently, their rosters always match what they're trying to do with their philosophy. So that's when you know that you have everything honed in. If you look at even good teams that aren't great, what stops them, Andy Reid, you can see that roster just embodies Andy Reid. They're a very smart football team. But then you have a team, and this isn't a shot. This is just, in my opinion, what's holding him back. You look at a team like Buffalo, very good team, but I don't know if they match what Sean McDermott is. You don't really know what Sean McDermott is, so I think that's huge when you talk about trying to go up against contenders. Kyle Shanahan, he's not like a guy that embodies physicalness, but you know what Kyle Shanahan is. He tries to run the ball. He's very smart in his play designs, and those are the players that he's able to deal with, and they match what he wants to do. And with all the coordinators that leave, they still say the same. So I think that's very important.
No, you're spot on. You name me a good coach, and I'll tell you the identity of their team. That's how it typically goes. And that's something that it's just all around the NFL. So I mean, another player, speaking of a guy on the team that does kind of embody the grit, Sam LaPorta, who this week we expect to bounce back. Ben Johnson also has confidence he'll bounce back. So I'm going to play the clip of Ben Johnson speaking about it, how every week it could be someone different. And here's him mentioning Sam LaPorta.
With Sam, people are looking at the lack of production. How much of that is teams, maybe still opponents still doubting JMO, and that being the right looks for Jared in these early season games?
Yeah. Last week it was St. Brown. This week it's LaPorta. Next week it's going to be somebody else. That's just the nature of the beast. That's what we got right now. We got a lot of weapons, and it's hard to guarantee someone 5 to 8 targets every single game. That's not how it works. I think back to last year, Josh Reynolds was on the cusp of getting his incentives in the contract, and we were trying to force the ball to him, and the coverage just didn't dictate that. So it's the same message it's always been. The guys that are active on game day, we have plays in for all of them, where they're primary receivers, all of them. And when we call that number, it really depends on what defense we get aligned with. And Jared's he's not worrying about getting a certain guy the ball. He's worrying about executing that particular play.
Yep, you heard it from him. In this week, I do think it'll be Sam LaPorta. He was on my impact players list. I think this, not just because of what he was saying there with Josh Reynolds and the incentive. Like, it's not like they're going to force him the ball, but to kind of Kyler was mentioning the linebacker duo they have. It's going to be tough what they do with Budda Baker, because you could put Budda Baker on Sam LaPorta, but then here comes JMO. You have to be kind of smart with how you utilize those two on the back end. So I think given the matchup Sam LaPorta will have this week, and given they're going to get back to play action, and a quarterback in play action, favorite player is his tight end. Look at George Kittle with the San Francisco 49ers. They established play action. Boom, George Kittle's getting these big plays. I think Sam LaPorta bounces back this week and has a Sam LaPorta-esque game, like the game we're used to seeing from Sam. I think it's this week. I don't need to echo what Ben said, but I said that on Wednesday. So I think it's trending that way. Big game for Sam LaPorta this week.
Do you guys feel like just sticking with tight ends? Like you've seen like the great tight ends in history. Like let's say just Travis Kelce. Like even if a defense tries to scheme up against him, like he's going to find ways to get open and make plays. I think that's where like Sam LaPorta the last couple of weeks, the offense, and shout out Easy. Like Easy was sending us some clips and some film, and a lot of the plays, like Sam is open on some of the plays. So I just think like more so like it comes down to the like Jared Goff, like getting a little bit better, making the right reads, putting the ball in the right spots. And I think as they start watching film and get going, like you're going to see Sam LaPorta get more touches. Like week 1, he still had 40-something yards, and that was the week he was coming off an injury, and they were like, we really didn't want to give him the ball a ton, and I think he had like 42 yards or 44. Like think about now as Jared starts watching film and seeing like these guys can't guard everyone, and it's impossible. Klotz, you play high-level football, like if you have an offensive coordinator like Ben Johnson, he's going to find a way to make sure someone's open. But it comes down to the quarterback putting the ball in the right spot. And I think like eventually it's all right. If you want to get this offense going, like Sam LaPorta is going to have to get involved. And it's not forcing him the ball, but it's all right. We need to start getting, schemes are going to start going to JMO and Amon-Ra, because those are the two guys you're focused on. Hey, now you got Sam LaPorta. And then when you start hitting Sam LaPorta, those other guys are going to open back up. And like it has nothing to do with, hey, you have to get these guys involved. But defensively, like someone's going to always be open. You have to be able to find that guy. And then maybe I do think this is a Sam LaPorta week. I think they're going to be so focused on JMO, Amon-Ra, Jameer, the run game, that there's going to be a lot of spots where Sam LaPorta is just sitting in these little gaps, and he's going to be wide open, and he's going to get a lot of yards after catch.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really have to say is that when it comes down to Sam LaPorta, it's going to depend on how he uses his size against Budda Baker, because I don't think that they're going to have Budda Baker on Amon-Ra St. Brown, because I think that's just a mismatch just because Amon-Ra is so physical. And I just think he's a guy that in coverage can exploit him. But when you talk about Budda Baker, I think that's who they're going to feel most confident putting on Sam LaPorta. But Sam LaPorta is just so much bigger than him that if he just uses his physicality, Booner, to your point, if he's just able, almost like a power forward in basketball, just able to back him down, use his body as leverage, and then make the hands catch, which we've seen him do consistently, he's going to get the yards after contact. So I think that he's definitely due for a big game. I think this whole receiving core, like even down to Sam LaPorta, is due for a big game. Like I think that to what Kyler was just saying, I don't know if it's as close as he's saying where the Cardinals are going to win, but I do think this is going to be a shootout just because if you look at both these secondaries, they have a receiver to kind of open up that weakness, because I just think Marvin Harrison can do it through all three levels of the field. So can the Lions. But when you just look at the Lions, I think there's a bit more of an advantage, especially for Sam LaPorta as well. So I definitely think he's due.
And speaking of Budda Baker, I saw this posted on Detroit Times, their Twitter account, which shout out to them. Shout out to him, actually. He's doing a great job. But this question, which Cardinals player are you the most worried about as a Lions fan? Is it Budda Baker? Like, what way would you guys go if I asked you that question? I think for me, the player that worries me is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's the player. I guess if we're going off besides quarterback, because obviously Kyler Murray's mobility scares me the most. But like besides Kyler, he's obviously the best player on offense. I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not even on the defensive side of the ball. I think with his ability, what he showed in the first quarter of last week, I know who he was facing. I know the Rams secondary is beat to shreds. And, you know, even after the Tre'Davious White making some plays week one, that dude he was on a couple posters with Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah. That dude does scare me. Even as a rookie, like, I don't care. Carlton Davis, I think, can hold his own, but you just never know. He's a big play waiting to happen. And those type of players, you have to have an eye on at all times. Like AG's definitely going to be looking at Marvin Harrison Jr., putting a safety over the top, figuring out how to kind of it's going to be hard to take him out the game, but slow him down this week. So for me, I'll go on the offensive side of the ball. And besides Kyler Murray, I'll go Marvin Harrison Jr. That is the guy that does kind of make me, we'll see. You know, he could wreck this game on offense.
Boom.
I would probably just go the obvious one. I think Kyler Murray. Like, I think that's a make or break. That makes or break the game. Like, if you contain Kyler Murray at the end of the day, like you're going to win the football game. And it's not just containing on, again, like we talked about, like vertical yards. It's like side to side, keeping the play alive. Like if you can stop Kyler Murray from extending plays on Sunday afternoon, you win the football game. Like, I think it's as simple as that. And I don't think there's any question behind it. Like it's if you make him just cut off that extension of every single play, because that's how he lives. Like that's why he's so good. And especially with the Marvin Harrison, because eventually, guess what? Marvin Harrison Jr. Klotz, I saw it a lot with Michigan, even though he's never beat Michigan. But you see it with him, like he's going to eventually get open. Like, no matter who he could be going up against the best corner in the league. Eventually, if you give Kyler Murray enough time, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to get open. So that's where I think it's the Kyler Murray. Like, you contain him, keep him in the pocket, and don't let him extend a play. Like, you win this game. And I think you can win by double digits in this game if you focus on just that and that alone.
I mean, I'm just going to go with a different route just because you guys are both saying it, but I do think it's somebody that needs to be monitored just because we talk about Kyron Williams, what he's been able to do with LA Rams. James Conner quietly has been one of the best running backs in football, both on the ground and throughout the air. And it doesn't matter who he's been facing. It goes back to last year where he was only playing in, let's look at it. I think it was 13 games. He still had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, 1,000 yards on the ground. But then when you look at it, like he's in the NFC West, so he's playing the Rams, who had a good defensive team last year. He played Dallas last year. He plays the 49ers, and he's still able to go off because of what he can do, because he's not overly explosive by any means, but he almost has that David Montgomery to him. I would say he's definitely better than Monty out of the backfield, not saying that Monty can't catch a ball, but James Conner is very good. So if he's a guy that somehow gets going, kind of to what Kyler was saying earlier, that opens up that whole offensive playbook for the Cardinals. So if Conner does find a way, even if it's not huge, but he's finding a way to kind of get those third downs, setting up Kyler Murray on 2nd and 5 instead of 2nd and 9. So now Kyler can scramble for a first down. That's where I think James Conner can hurt you if you just let him get those drives where he's gotten to get those chunk yardage, because with him recently, it kind of seems inevitable regardless of who's playing.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, and they're all on offense. I mean, defense obviously would be their best player. Buda Baker obviously would be the guy, but offense, I think we all kind of hit on everything. Kyler Murray for obvious reasons, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and James Conner, like those three guys are the three. And I know Kyler said it'll be a shootout, which could happen. I mean, this defense, even though they've been better, you just don't know. This offense for the Cardinals seems to be playing very, very well. And I'll tell you guys this, because I know we used to do this every week we do bold takes for the NFL season. I'll give you a bold take this week. And I'd like to hear if you guys have one in chat. Feel free. Give me a bold take for this week's game. I think this week, my bold take, and it starts at quarterback with Kyler Murray, the mobility will be an issue. But I think the Lions defense this week will force at least 2 turnovers. I think Kyler Murray has 2 turnovers this week against the Detroit Lions. That's the route I'm going. At least 2 turnovers, either a fumble and a pick or 2 picks. I think the Lions find a way to take the ball away twice. I mean, Kirby Joseph, maybe he gets another interception. Maybe Terrion Arnold if he plays. I think Kyler Murray, at least 2 turnovers this week would be something I think will happen.
Did you tell me that earlier?
Yes.
Okay. Some reason I thought you said a different one, and I had wrote that one down. And then when you said it, I was just like, there was a moment where I was like, dude, we just had the same exact thought. And then I was like, I think you might have told me that. I'm going to go with the different one. I'm going to go offensively, guys. And you guys could tell me if this is bold or not. And I don't even know how many times this was done last year, if done at all. But I think what you're going to see, and then this kind of goes away to where I'm probably going to have to take a little back step here on my Jared Goff 300 or 275 game.
Oh, no.
But I actually, as I'm starting to get to Sunday, I'm starting to feel like this is going to be a David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs type of game. And I don't just mean on the ground. I mean on the ground, in the air, touchdowns. I think David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs combine for over 200 all-purpose yards and combine for 3 touchdowns. I think Ben Johnson's going to go into this game and the offensive line with the chip on their shoulder, and they're going to be like, we got to pound the rock. We're going to put the ball in these guys' hands. We're going to come right behind the offensive line, and we're going to dominate this team. You guys know those games that you guys talk to me about all the time, and we talked about it last year, where the Lions just control the whole game with the clock, and there's there's zero chance the Cardinals can win because of that. I feel like that's a Sunday game. That's the game plan. Let's go in and win by 2 touchdowns and not even give the Cardinals a chance. We'll take the ball to start the game. We'll run it right down their throats, and instantly we'll punch it in with David Montgomery, and then we'll get a stop, and then we'll run it down your throat with Jahmyr Gibbs, and we'll go up 14-0, and now we're just going to run the ball with these 2 guys, and you're down 14-0, and the time's just ticking, and you have it's over. Game's over in the second quarter, and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? And Cardinals fans are like, can someone get a stop here? And they can't stop the run. And then when they do, boom, Amon-Ra, J-Mo, LaPorta, and you're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So that's I'm starting to envision this game a little bit, and that's how I feel like this game's about to go. It's going to be a time-consuming David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs football game, and you're going to see a big game out of both of them combined.
So what do they need to do, Booner?
200 all-purpose, which I think they had 180 last week together.
No, Booner. What do they need to do to win this game? We
run the ball.
Yep.
We need those shirts. You got them, Juicy J, Hollywood.
We're working on it.
All right,
hey, we'll get them though. We'll know. But Booner,
I don't know if you had them. We just didn't put them up yet. I'm just checking. Hey.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a game where Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery gets going. And then where you talked about it, the air assault goes up. And I think my bold prediction is going to be that Jameson Williams, yet again, for a second game, leads the line in receiving yards.
Wow.
I think Amon-Ra St. Brown can have 7 catches, 80 yards, tutty. I think Sam LaPorta, kind of same thing, 6 catches, 60 yards, maybe tutty. But I think Jameson Williams, think about it. If Tim Patrick's on the field and they put Tim Patrick on the outside, there's going to be a situation where Starling Thomas is lined up across from Jameson Williams. And I'm sorry, but that's barbecue chicken. Even it just is. It goes back to just personnel wise. This is when you're a Super Bowl caliber team like the Lions. There's just going to be games where you are just simply better on almost all phases of the game. And I think the Lions seriously are. So I think Jameson Williams is due for at least 4 or 5 catches. I do, especially when between the second and the third quarter when the Lions offense gets going. I think especially that play action game, they're going to take a shot to J-Mo. And I think he's going to get yak yardage on at least one of them, and there's going to be a deep shot to him, and he's going to get plays in between there. So I think he's due for another game where he leads the team in receiving yards.
And you said the over on the Jared Goff's passing yards, so it does align with your narrative. I remember
fair.
those things.
I said over on everything offensively. There was not a line offensively I took the under on.
Yeah,
Big game. Hey, that's like 500 all-purpose yards. I like that, Klotzy.
Well, not even that, but it's just like whatever the line is, I don't care. I'm taking the over.
You're breaking the record, most yards in a game. I think.
I think like they'll do like.
Hey, why not? Huh?
I think the Lions' offense will look like what the Cardinals was last week. Maybe not Kyler Murray scrambling around doing a no-look pass where he's not paying attention, but as far as like you just can't stop them. Now, the Cardinals' offense may have a better showing than the Rams, but I just think this Lions' offense, after these first 2 weeks, hearing all this noise right now, it's like a hot knife through butter.
It's fair. I mean, it's fair. We got people chiming in with their own takes. Let's get Ryan's Kirby pick and wait for it. Hutch pick, Defensive Player of the Year.
I love that. He's going to get one eventually. He almost got Baker last week. I don't know if you guys when I went back and watched the game, I replayed it like 10 times because he was like that close to where he realized it was a screen and backpedaled, and Baker tried to get it over, and he like just missed it. I was like, oh my gosh, he almost had a pick. I didn't even realize it in real time.
If Hutch gets a pick and a sack this week, he's leader in the Defensive Player of the Year race.
He is now, anyways.
He is.
Leader.
I'm saying like no.
Oh, odds. Okay,
dude,
okay.
That's an impressive week. After
For
4.5 sacks, you get a pick and a sack the next week. Like, unless TJ Watt has like 4.5 sacks and he like matches it or something. I don't know. That's gonna be a hell of a week. We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. Dude gets a lot of picks in his career. Jay-Z says another Hutch forced fumble. A lot of Hutch.
I would like that. A lot of Hutch stuff going on here.
PS1 Dungeon Synth says Aiden gets 2.5 sacks. Maybe not a hot take, but LMAO. But that's my prediction. 2.5.
That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot.
Yeah, that's bold. 2.5 after 4.5. 7 sacks in 2 weeks. Pretty.
That's
start. I mean,
I'll say his line right now, it's minus 166, but it's 0.75. So I mean, minus 166. They should just move it up to even 1. So then, if you can either get a push or get a 1.5, maybe. So essentially, they think he's going to get 1.5 sacks this week, is what the line's telling me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, 2.5 sacks. That's pretty impressive. I mean, burning issues. Hutch gets 2 interceptions. A lot of people saying Hutch. I mean, that would be Jesus. I mean,
Hutch interception's a really hot one. Like people like this one.
I mean, now I'm like kind of eyeing it. Let's see. Slappy 313 Lions are going to run the rock 30 times.
Probably more than that. I think last week, how many did they do?
Because that's like, I mean, you give or take, you get like 17, 18 carries for Montgomery, and you get 12 from Jameer.
Last week, you ran it 27, but 2 of them was Goff and 1 was J-Mo. So with like the main guys, 24 times. That's pretty low still, I think.
Yeah. You can do that too. This comment, I love this one. Tim Patrick 45 plus and a TD, lock it in. He will open up for J-Mo and all.
Hey, that'd be nice. Hey, well, how about have we really dove into Jeff's thought about what's your thoughts in a trust circle, not even like a victory lap or anything? What are your thoughts on Tim Patrick so far? What you expected, more or less?
I know he's about what I expected. Like I think he's a situational guy that I think is a fine player. 40, you notice he said 40, 45 yards. Like that's probably 2 catches from Tim Patrick. Like you can do that. 2 big catches. Like I don't hate the guy. I don't have this vendetta against him. Yeah. I just think when he was signed, it's like, oh dude, like we just got like Josh Reynolds replacement level, and it's not that at all. Like they did hint a lot of him being more involved in the game plan. So and they got plays for him. So 45 yards. I think that's a fine take. I don't hate that at all. And a TD.
Dan Campbell likes Tim Patrick. I don't know how many times you can just move a guy up from the practice squad before you have to sign him. I think like he's going to be on the 53-man officially at some point in the next couple of weeks, whenever that deadline hits. I don't know if someone knows that. I think Tim Patrick's going to end up being a piece in this offense. Like I truly do. And Klotzy, I don't know if you still are on that, but I just think like that true X wide receiver with Josh Reynolds, like you saw with DJ Chark, it opened up a lot. and you're just adding another piece out there. Like you're just adding like the defense has to notice him, and especially in some formations and some just schemes that Ben Johnson's probably wanting to do, and he can't without a guy like Tim Patrick. Now you can. He's healthy. At his best, Jeff, and this is where maybe we go a different way, I think Tim Patrick is better than Josh Reynolds at his best. Like he's a better receiver than Josh Reynolds. Like Tim Patrick's had good seasons and he's dominated. Where like Josh Reynolds, he like look at him without Jared Goff right now. How is he playing? Like look at him before Jared Goff when he wasn't in Detroit. Like he only had those 3 years with Detroit and Jared Goff. Am I wrong? Like am I
just the dominated part. But I get what you're saying. Like
I would him at his peak.
I'm with you, Booner, because I think when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and Khalif Raymond, I think it's a whole different mindset defensively if you take Khalif Raymond out there and you put Tim Patrick, just because he is a 6'4" threat. And I think he does match what this Lions team wants to have on the outside. And I do think that maybe not right now, and where compared to what Josh Reynolds was last year, but I do think Tim Patrick does, at the very minimum, bring you what Josh Reynolds did to this offense and a little bit more with the run blocking game, because Josh Reynolds was a good blocker, but like Tim Patrick run blocking it's a different type of level, in my opinion. I think he was one of the better ones when he was completely healthy in the league. So when you look at that, I think when you talk about a guy that you want healthy for the playoffs, when you're going up against very good defenses, physical defenses, when you're going potentially against the Packers, when you're going up against the 49ers, teams of that nature, even teams that are weak in the secondary, like the Philadelphia Eagles, if you play against him and you have him out there against Quinyon Mitchell, you run to the side that Tim Patrick's on. In the red zone, you can throw Tim Patrick a jump ball. You can't do that with Khalif Raymond. So when he does become healthier, when he does get a better stride in this offense, I do think he will bring more. And I do think that it helps open up the offense to what they want to run, because you have a guy that truly matches what you want with the 3 wide receiver personnel.
Yeah, the fit is so it's perfect, because you're looking for a guy like Tim Patrick. I think it was a little aggressive. You kind of threw some shade at Josh Reynolds with Bo Nix as his quarterback, but I get it. He still had almost 100 yards. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Your guy, Bo Nix, Jeff.
I mean, Josh Reynolds has never had a year that Tim Patrick did, and Tim Patrick did it 2 years, and then he gets injured.
Go through his what do you have? Tell me.
No, I'm just being honest. Like Tim Patrick had two
was
seasons.
The wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he had 2 seasons, 750 yards and 5 and 6 touchdowns. Josh Reynolds has never broken. His highest season is 618 yards. His highest season in Detroit is 600 yards with 5 touchdowns. So
you're
like
talking about 150 difference.
Yeah, but it's just more so. It's just like at his best, like Tim Patrick only played 3 or 4 years before he got injured. Like Josh Reynolds has had like a 8-9 year career. Like Tim Patrick, if he didn't get hurt, he would have continued to get either better or keep putting up 700 yards, 5 touchdown seasons. Like this is a good player. The only reason you would question it is because of the injury. Now if he's back, but now Jeff, this is where it doesn't matter anymore. If he is now no longer injured and he's not, like, he stays healthy and he gets back to the level he was before the injury, then you're sitting there. And that's my point, is at his best, right? Like that's the key. As D-Mac always says, the key word is his best, at his best. That is it. If he is at his best, he is probably a better player than Josh Reynolds at their best.
Here's the thing is, in this, and I don't want this to turn into me, because I like Tim Patrick. I think he's a perfect fit for what they want and what they need. A true X. He's a capable player. He's not a bad player by any means. But you're acting like the dude's 25 years old. I mean, he's 30 with 2 catastrophic injuries. Like, he's not getting better. I'm just sorry. He's not. He's 30. I mean, basically data would dictate he's only going to get worse. I mean, unless there's
what's tough is like I like what you're doing right now, because you can say that, and because he's the 3rd or 4th or 5th option on this team, he's not going to have 700 yards. So at the end of the season, you can just look at me and Klotzy and be like, told you guys. He's not going to go out there and get 700 yards, though. He'll have a couple hundred yards. He's going to block really well. He'll have a few touchdowns in the red zone when you need it. And then, like, that's great. That's all you need. Like, fill that Josh Reynolds role a little, because now you have J-Mo, too. So, like, just give us something.
No, yeah, and I think that's what Jeff's saying. I just think Jeff's where standing off is with he could potentially be better than Josh Reynolds, because I think that would be like the ceiling of it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Tim Patrick, and I think that's with any wide receiver 4 or 5, you're not looking at their production at the end of the year, because there's going to be probably 2 or 3 plays that you're going to remember them by. Unfortunately for Josh Reynolds, through all those good catches, the 2 or 3 plays that you remember from are the NFC Championship games. Those 2 or 3 plays for Tim Patrick's need to be catches. And I think that's all that matters with this, because he brings the same thing that Josh Reynolds does. And I think we all 3 agree on that. It's just maybe Booner, you're a little higher on it. I think I'm in the middle here, because I don't think
so this is where people
intangibly he does bring a little bit better.
30 second. Let's do the 30 second.
Okay.
This is where, when I say at his best he can be better than Josh Reynolds, I'm not saying he's going to go out there and get 600 yards this year. Like that, I'm out on that. Like, obviously, I'm saying like the talent that he can bring, like probably like 300 or 400 yards is what's going to happen. That's it. And he's going to be trustworthy, in my opinion, I think, because he is a vet. Guys, Jeff. This is sometimes going with Jeff back and forth. Sometimes he knows how to finesse a little bit, Klotzy. I've learned a lot from him. He knows how to win an argument by being like, so you're saying that? Nope. Never said he was going to get 600 yards. Talent-wise, he can give you what Josh Reynolds did. Like that. But you got to think, like, in perspective, you have J-Mo now getting those yards. So, like, he doesn't need to go out there and get you 700.
No, he does not. You're right.
He does not need it. So don't put that in my, hey, don't do that. Don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah, finish that sentence.
And I want to, hey, what Easy said here too, the fact that he was even getting targets last week, it wasn't like just one target. It was like multiple. Yeah. And they trusted him in bigger moments too to go make a play. And like that first down, he made a play. That was something Josh Reynolds was really good at last year, is getting the first down. Look at what Tim Patrick did last week. Got you a first down.
Yeah.
Already.
You know what he needs to be, boys? He needs to be the Lions' Juwan Jennings. That's what he needs to be.
This guy in Juwan Jennings, man. Get over it.
Hey,
Juwan Jennings was almost a Super Bowl MVP as a wide receiver 3.
Yeah,
that's
fair. That's fair.
You won me over. I was scrambling like Black Friday on Tuesday. Like, you know how people, these places are running around trying to get deals. I'm scrambling to pick up Juwan Jennings in fantasy. I missed out.
And hey, we don't forget about the play. Big third down in the NFC Championship game. The Juwan Jennings absolutely snagging one with one hand over Anzalone on a third down. I said that was going to happen. I said there's going to be an annoying third down where Juwan Jennings just makes a play.
He did.
I think that was on the drive right before the IU catch too.
And again, the Tim Patrick stuff. Glad we came to full circle, Boone. I didn't mean to put words in your mouth. We agree.
Yeah, I wasn't saying he's going to put the numbers up like that. Wasn't.
You're right.
I get he's older, injured, but
he's still a capable player. I think the only thing that I'm a little more skeptical about, and that maybe this helps because of his role and how it's diminished, but just the injuries, staying healthy. That is it. So again, I want to ask you guys more about the game itself. What do you want to see this week? What must you see? And then we'll get into our score predictions right after this. But we didn't really answer this earlier, and we didn't get to talk about it, Boone, because we were talking about other things. What do you need to see this week from the Detroit Lions? Give me like 1 or 2 things that when you watch the game, you're going, whether it's a player, whether it's a statistic, whether it's offense, defense, whatever, coaching. What do you need to see this week against the Cardinals for you to be on Monday when we do this show? When they win, hopefully they win too, but you'll be all right.
So
you'll be fulfilled.
I've got a thought process here. There's one thing that in week 1 with Chiron Williams, we pulled out the stat and gave out the records of the Rams when Chiron Williams was under a certain amount of rushing yards. You heard Kyler, not Murray, but you heard Kyler, the reporter.
Wow.
You heard him bring up James Conner and how big James Conner is for this offense. Everyone talks about Marvin Harrison Jr. Everyone talks about Kyler Murray. And when you talk about them, those are the 2 stars. But not a lot of people talk about what James Conner does for this offense. And Jeff, or I think it was Jeff, me and you were talking about it like what fantasy-wise, where we're like, he's really, really good player. It might have been Klotzy even.
Yeah, I traded him away last night.
Yeah, though. James Conner, to me, is like, if you stop James Conner, you can let Marvin Harrison go get 120 on you. But they're not going to win this football game, and they're not going to be in it offensively. The stat that I brought today, guys, in 2020, in 2023, and 2024. So the 2 games this year, in the, I don't know, however many games he played in last year. I think he actually played in all 17. Or whatever.
James
whatever it was.
About?
Yeah, was it 13?
He played in 13. He was ridiculous.
He was the Arizona Cardinals were 0-6 last year, and then their one loss this year was when James Conner was held under 70 rushing yards. This Detroit Lions defensive line, and we talked about this with Kyron Williams, this Detroit Lions defensive line, the linebackers, you stop James Conner in the run game, you win this football game. That's a fact. As long as the offense just does what the offense does. Again, in 2023, 0-6 when he was under 70 rushing yards. So you stop that man, you win this football game. I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm looking for on Sunday. Just continue the run game defense. Just continue it, dominate that, and you win this football game. And this offense gets going. I'm not even going to say that's something I want to see because I'm expecting this offense to get rolling.
Yeah, I'm with you, Boone. I think it's the biggest part. I agree with you as well that that's something that I think just by default, like running backs are going to struggle against the Lions. But for me, what I got to say, this Lions offense needs to bounce back, but where it really needs to bounce back is coming out of halftime in the third quarter. Ben Johnson, you're hearing all this noise. You obviously need to run the ball. We've made that all very clear throughout Detroit, and I think Dan even said it. Throwing 55 times is not the way you're going to win the game. Run the ball in the first half, but in that third quarter, coming out of halftime, establish the tone. Stop getting too cute. Stop trying to overthink everything and just stick to your identity with running the football out of halftime and setting up the play action. So that way there's no chance that the Arizona Cardinals can sneak back into the game because you already know that the Lions are going to come out running the ball. Don't get away from it. Third quarter woes offensively, get them out of here. That's what I want to see this week.
Yeah, I think for me, and you guys both nailed it. It starts with me with the offense. And I just want to simply put, the Lions get back to their identity. Heavy play action. Keep this Cardinals defense on their back feet. And I do think that the offense will run the ball heavy this week. Excuse me. Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, we know what they're capable of, but really the offensive line and getting back to what we see out of those guys, being dominant in run blocking. I know Frank had a rough outing. I think he bounces back. I'm not even sure who the defensive tackle for the Cardinals is, if I'm being honest with you. So I think
Nichols. Don't sleep now.
Who?
Bilal Nichols. Remember the name. Roy Lopez? Roy Lopez?
Frank will be fine. Quit listening to Klotz. No one cares about these random Jags.
Well, yeah, Frank Ragnow's going to die. You know what? You just need to be more confident with your statement.
Yeah, I mean, these Jags.
Frank Ragnow is going to go out there and be Frank Ragnow. I think they get back to what their identity is, which is running the football, establishing play action. I want to see Jared Goff this week, man. I said it, and I'll say it again. I'll say it probably on Sunday, too. And Ben Johnson, keep his pass attempts under 30. Let's see like a 17 for 26 type of game, 240 yards, whatever, 2 TDs, no picks. Let's not put too much responsibility on Goff because you don't have to this week. I think this week, unlike the Bucs, they thought, well, we're not going to be able to run the ball that effectively. We can kind of put the ball in Jared's hands. Dude, 55 times, that's a recipe for an L. The only guy that can do that is Mahomes and actually win more than lose. So this week, the offense is what I'm watching, and I'll be thoroughly watching for them to get back to what they are. An explosive offense, a top 5 offense, and against a Cardinals defense, which, yes, defensive head coach, I just don't think they have the personnel. I mean, you heard Kyler come on and mention it. At corner, Sean Murphy Bunting, by the way, Chippewa alum, by the way. Hey, Sean Murphy Bunting, shout out to him, Central Michigan. He's got a tough task this week. He's guarding a top 5 receiver. So it's going to be interesting. But for me, it's all offense. All offense this week, boys. Defense, I think, will hold their own. They'll be all right. No, Anzalone does give me some, curious.
I mean, maybe
not like it's make or break, but for a guy who's your best cover linebacker, it is kind of like, I want to see Jack Campbell step up. If he doesn't play, I think he will.
I have confidence, and I've been saying it for 2 weeks now, and I'm not probably going to keep saying it. I think the Lions are going to have 30+, so I do think like this defense is like, if you hold them under 20, you win this game. I think the defense holds them at like 20-something, you win this game. That's what it comes down to.
Yep, I'm with you there. Well, fellas, let's get to our score predictions. So for me, and I'll say this, to no surprise, Lions win. I think the Lions win this week. Everything I just talked about happens. Kyler Murray, I said it. Lions force 2 turnovers. I think this Cardinals offense, they've been playing very, very well. I think this week, like Kyler said, I'm referencing him again, both teams will be reminded who they are. The Cardinals will be reminded that they're going to be this 500 team, and they're going to drop another game here against a superior opponent. I think the Lions win this game 31-21. They win by 10. They get out of there with a win. And Kyler Murray, 2 turnovers, flight home. Everyone's happy. And we get to have a victory Monday. That's my score prediction.
Oh, I can't wait. Klotzy?
You want me to go? All right, this
Oh,
is
yeah, you
easy
go.
for me. I said this is going to be an offensive game for the Detroit Lions. I think it's going to be a shootout when you kind of look at the yards and everything like that. With the score, I do not think it's going to be close. I think Lions 38, Cardinals 24. I think they win by 2+ touchdowns. I think when the game gets close, towards the end of the game, Kyler finds a way to make a couple of plays, but it's going to be too little too late. I think to what Booner's point was, the Arizona Cardinals are just not going to be on the field that much. I think the Lions are going to be just going up and down the field, getting points with will. And then defensively, to Jeff's point, I think there's going to be an interception or a forced fumble because you look at the Arizona offensive line, it's not going to be able to handle this pass rush, and Kyler's definitely going to have a turnover or 2. And I think the Lions offense, again, will capitalize off those. Big game on the ground and through the air. I just think the Lions dominate this game again. It's an inferior opponent. The Detroit Lions should dominate this game on paper, and especially after the first 2 weeks that they've had, they need to make a statement type of game. And I think it's a get-right game and a big Lions win.
Love it.
Win.
Hey, the Detroit Lions have won 8 straight games coming off of a loss. Haven't lost a game off a loss since 2022, week 8. And it will not happen again. This is going to be an absolute dominant performance from start to finish. I was confident last week that they were going to beat the Bucs, and I think I had them winning by 10 last week. I'm confident going into another week that they're not going to drop another game. I trust Dan Campbell. I trust Jared Goff. Still, I trust Jared Goff. Ben Johnson. This defense is even better. Give me the Detroit Lions to win 34-20. Klotzy, I'm with you. I wanted to say 38. You said 38, so I switched to 34. So we have a couple of different opportunities here to get a direct hit on the score. I think 34-20, though. I think a two touchdown game. I think they dominate the time of possession. I think they get 2 turnovers, like Jeff said. I think the run game is going. The wide receiver, Sam LaPorta, is going. The defense is rolling. This team is going to be back. That's what the conversations will be next Monday. They just go and win a 2 touchdown game to a team that some people might have had in their top 15. They're going to come in the conversation Monday as, yep, the Detroit Lions are legit again. They're Super Bowl contenders again. The Detroit Lions, fellas, are officially back. That will be the conversation come Monday morning.
Love it. All wins. Let's get to the chat here. I see some score predictions coming in. Weezy D313, 21-27 Cards. Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Hey.
It's tough,
Just-
Weezy.
Not mad.
Everybody
Weezy,
gave their own opinion.
just a little disappointed. But at the same
right.
time, it is your opinion. Cartier, 23-17 Lions. 2 one-score games so far. Xavier D, 31-20. Lions. Burning Issues, 34-23. Lions. Derek Lash, 34-26 Lions. Shift God, 34-24 Lions. Lit Lion, 38-17. Assuming Lions win that one, but based on the name and profile picture. Love it. You got 37-24. Yep. Ball don't lie. 27-24 Detroit, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Arizona wins. Don't put that in there. You know what?
They're not. This
He
is not
just-
going to be an Arizona win. What are we
Yeah,
talking
just
about
watching
here?
the Rams give up 41 points. He's scarred
You know what
for life.
you know what I call that? That's hedging. That's like, oh, the Lions win. Wouldn't be shocked if they don't. It's like, no,
Pick a side,
I'm
pick a
on
side.
business.
Yeah, you have to pick one or the other. And
And I'm
stand on it.
Yeah. No, it's all love. Joe, 28-10 Lions. Joe's prediction. Broski Bear, 34-16 Cards. You sicko.
Hey, don't skip over that. Don't skip over the Mr. Detroit City one.
Coach Walk, 31-18 Lions. Love it. Mr. Detroit City, 69-0. Suck it. That's fair.
Oh, that's not the one I was talking about, but
We're reading Mr. Detroit City. I love that. All right. Time.
shout out the Booner Path, baby. That's all I wanted.
Hashtag Super
Booner Path gets back on. Hey, there was some potholes. There was some detours. Guess what? We're back on Sunday. The Booner Path. Hey, the Booner Path. Where's my officer over there? Klotzy, how we feeling?
Hey, we're here, Boone. We both literally and figuratively, the Booner Path between the two of us has hit some potholes recently, but it's all about getting that new rim, Booner. It's all about getting the tow truck back, having the boys there with you to help. The Booner Path will be full steam ahead after this Sunday, Boone.
Hey, it's about hitting adversity and moving forward and winning football games. That's all that matters. What does Dan Campbell say? Hey, You knock us to the ground, guess what we're going to do? We're going to, on our way up, we're going to bite a kneecap. And then you hit us down again, and we're coming up for your next kneecap. And then you hit us down again, and we're going to keep eating your kneecaps until you have to kill us, or we're killing you. It's a kill or be killed type of world.
I love it. Hey, we'll speak score predictions. We gave our Lions Cardinal score prediction. Let's go around the NFL, Boone. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's roll it. Hey, by the way, too, if you guys are around here, the Booner Bets is back here. I have my bets about 9:45. I have 5 for the week. I love the 5. I love the 5 I have this week. Last week it was tough because I had 2 Lions bets in there, and the Lions just laid an egg. So the whole thing was messed up. But I love my 5 this week. All right, let's do this, guys. Let's go around the NFL. I've got, I've got 8 picks or 8 games here for you guys from now until Sunday Night Football. First one, we're leading us off here. This is a big one, Classy. This is a big one. Bears at the Colts. Colts are 1.5-point favorites. I'll tell you what, I have a pick in this game on my best bets of 5, so I will not be making a pick on this game. Classy, which way are you going here? It's in Indy.
It's got to happen sometime soon. The Colts got to pick up a W. They have to.
Really?
But I don't think it's this week. Give me the Bears, and I think the Bears do cover. It's only 1.5-point spread. My Colts are cold. They're going to get hot eventually, but it's going to be a little too late. Again, Anthony Richardson, he's practically in his rookie year. I thought defensively they'd be much better. I think that the Caleb Williams is going to have a fine game, but I think the Bears defense just has a dominant game. So give me the Bears.
Yeah, you know what, Klotzy? And I think the reality of your Colts, and I get Anthony Richardson hasn't played a lot of football, which is something that people have to think about. He has not played a lot of football. He was injured his whole rookie year, and he played 1 or 2 years at Florida. I mean, he has not played a large sample size of football. So yet the same, he's kind of a rookie too, if you think about it, the way his career is and the amount of snaps he's played. I'm going to go with the Bears because their defense, I think it will make this thing ugly. And I know the Colts got a good defense too. And I know the offensive line for the Bears is a concern. So I think this game could get ugly, period. I don't think it's going to be like a 27-21 win. I think this could be 17-10. Something just disgusting. I'm gonna give it to the Bears just because I think their defense will cause the Colts offense way more problems than I think vice versa. So I think the Bears sneak out with a win on the road. And I'm not confident with that one, but
this man just talked in circles for the Bears to pick the Chicago Bears to win. It's ugly. All right, next game here. This is a big one. This is another big game. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's on my best bet. Okay. Yeah, so I don't want to take it. Yeah, I have it, that same game on my best bets. I don't know which side, but you'll have to find out at 9:45. But I have the next game. This is an interesting one to me. I'm shocked at the line with this. The Houston Texans are going on the road. They're 1.5-point favorites, and I'll say this: they're only 1.5-point favorites in Minnesota. And the line moved. I think earlier this week it was at +2.5, or was at 2.5, and it's already at 1.5. And they're on the road in Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings have looked good. I don't know what's going on. Justin Jefferson, I think he was injured. I haven't really seen if he's playing or what's going on with him. I'm going to take the Texans with this, guys, -1.5. I feel like it should be 4.5. I think the Vikings, their first 2 weeks, I had them in my top 10. I just think the Vikings, the first couple of weeks, has moved this line to make it a little better than it is. And honestly, it's good for the Texans side because the Texans are going to win this football game. They have a legit defense. They have a legit offense. I think this is going to be the first big challenge for the Vikings, and the Vikings are going to drop a game at home. Give me the Texans -1.5. What do you guys have?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be, at least defensively for the Vikings, they'll put up a good show. But I think we have not seen Tank Dell have a dominant game this year, and it's going to happen this week. Nico Collins a little bit banged up, and rent's due for Tank Dell as far as with the fantasy points and production. It's going to happen soon, and I think this is the week. I think that the Texans go in there, they win and they cover, but I think Minnesota puts up a solid fight.
Oh, it's weird you say Tank Dell after you just acquired him, but
I knew that.
I traded for him. Why do you think I traded for him?
I get it. It's cope.
You watch.
A lot of cope. But I actually agree with you, Klotz. I agree with you both. I think the Texans cover this game. The Vikings story, it's been awesome. but this is where it gets shut down by a superior team. So give me the Texans to win and the Texans to cover.
Love that. I'm with you on that. Next game here, the Philadelphia Eagles are going on the road to the New Orleans Saints. Saints are actually 2.5-point favorites. It's tough to play in New Orleans, but I'll tell you guys this, and I'll just give my picks at the start of this, so then I can let you guys cook. I do like to say the Saints. I had them in my top 10. I argued for them winning multiple games by 30 points. I just think this is an Eagles bounce back week. Nick Sirianni and that team. I don't care if AJ Brown plays or not. That was such a bad loss for that Philadelphia Eagles team with Saquon. Their defense needs to get a little bit better, but I think this is one of those weeks to where you have a team that's extremely hot and you have a team that just lost a big-time game and need to bounce back, and it's two decent football teams, but I'm taking the better football team because if the Eagles would have won and the Saints games are a little closer, the Eagles are probably favored in this game, even on the road. So I'm going to take the Eagles. I think getting – what is it? Plus 2.5 points with the Eagles. They don't even need to win the game. I think the Eagles are going to stay within the 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, look, Saints, again, huge story. Dennis Allen's had the highest ceiling he's had as a head coach over the last 2 weeks. But at some point, they're going to return to earth, and it's going to be this week. Derek Carr has only thrown the ball 38 times this year. He has the most touchdown, highest QBR, but he's going to have to throw the ball more than 20 times this week, and he's not been asked to do that yet this year. And I understand that the Eagles secondary is shaky, but I think defensively, like, the Eagles are going to make some noise when Derek Carr drops back. Alvin Kamara can still have a fine game, but I just don't see a way that the Philadelphia Eagles don't win this game. If they do, I think Nick Sirianni needs to be on the hot seat, and he needs to be on it like now if that happens. You can't start the season 1-2 in a division that's looking like this, where the Cowboys are at the down year and where they're going to be lower than they were compared to last season. And you look at Washington, rookie quarterback, Giants, Daniel Jones going on. This is a game that the Eagles need to win and bounce back on, and I think it's going to happen. So they win and they cover.
I really did want to go like Saints here.
Oh, you gross.
No, but the reality is I think the Saints are going to have a hard time running the ball on the Eagles because Jalen Carter was suspended. He's back this week. So and again, you nailed it, Klotz, with your Derek Carr and the pass attempts. Like, he's going to be asked to do more. And that secondary, despite them not playing well for the Eagles, I think this game, I think the Saints could put up a fight, but I think the Eagles, with how last week ended, I think they get it back this week. That's, and I know in the ETN put in the Eagles run defense sucks. They have, but last year they were very good. So I think you're going to get that defensive line. I think the Eagles start to look like the Eagles this week. So I'm with you guys. I think they win, and obviously they cover if they win. So I'm going to go Eagles.
All right. Next game, Chargers at Steelers. Steelers are 3-point favorites in Pittsburgh. Listen, I'm going to say this, guys. I typically always take Mike Tomlin at home. The way the Chargers have been playing, though, recently, 3 points. This is going to be I would not be shocked if this game ends in a field goal. And if this game somehow moves to 3.5 and you can get the Chargers at plus 3.5, this is going to be a field goal game and a really, really good football game. I think it's going to be like a 20-17 game, lower scoring, but I think it's going to be a 3-point game. So give me the Chargers plus 3.
Yep, I'm with you, Boone. I don't need to add much. Chargers plus 3. They're playing well coached. I'm with you.
Yeah, same thing. I think the Chargers have a better head coach right now as far as Jim Harbaugh goes, better quarterback, and better overall defense. And they have at least one of the only rosters that can contain T.J. Watt potentially with the 2 tackles they have.
Ooh, I like that. Packers at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites at home. Not sure Jordan Love, the Malik Willis situation. Where are you guys at with this game? Packers heading into Tennessee. And if Malik Willis plays, that's against his former team and the former organization that drafted him.
Quarterback battle, baby.
Yeah, this is the only reason why the Titans are going to win is because for once this year, the Titans are going to have the quarterback advantage. I mean, Will Levis stinks, but Malik Willis stinks more. So that's why this week this whole Malik Willis thing will come back down to earth, and they're going to be like, all right, Jordan Love, we need you. So give me the Titans to win. Not confident with that at all. But this Malik Willis thing has to come back down to earth. So give me the Titans.
Yeah, this Titans defense sneakily has been very good so far this season. I think they find a way to, stop the run there. Jeffrey Simmons, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league, and they don't let anything happen in the air. And Will Levis just needs to stop shooting himself in the foot because they win both of those games if he doesn't make those two idiotic plays. So give me the Titans to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna across the board Titans as well. I think the Titans win. I don't even if Jordan Love. The Titans defense has been pretty good actually. They've been dirty. That's a good defense, and I'm not gonna. This isn't bad on you guys, but that was the thing where I kept saying, "Hey, this offense." And you guys were like, "I don't know about this defense." No, they put this defense, fellas.
The offense is ugly.
It is, but that was like everyone thought maybe the defense, like they brought pieces in. People were like, "I don't know if this defense is going to be able to hold up." Defense has been the best part of this team.
They just got to score
dominated.
points. That's all they got to do.
Ravens. 1.5 point favorites heading into Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys. Where are you guys at with this game? The Ravens 0-2. This feels like a must-win game for them to not start the season 0-3.
If there's a lock of the week, it is here. Derrick Henry is going to go crazy against this Cowboys run defense. If Alvin Kamara and the Saints looked like that last week against the Cowboys, I can promise you that Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and that offensive line are going to have their way with the Cowboys yet again. And I think this is going to be a game where Dak is just struggling to find CD because not going to be able to get in rhythm because Baltimore is just controlling the time of possession. Ravens win, and I think Ravens dominate.
Yeah, give me the Ravens. I'm with you. Two teams that need to win bad. I'm going to give the edge to the better coached, better quarterback, and Derrick Henry team. So give me the Ravens.
Next game, I'll take the Ravens as well. I just think it's a must-win for them. I think they end up winning it. Cowboys dropped to 1-2. Some questions over there. Next game, 49ers, 6.5 point favorites at the Rams. I'll just tell you guys this. You guys know my pick. 49ers without, I think, potentially Bosa, without George Kittle is doubtful, so he's probably not playing. No CMC. Like they had no Deebo Samuel. Every single star that they have, maybe outside of Trent Williams, is out. So I'm going to go the Rams. And I know the Rams have a lot of injuries. I just think this is one of those games to where every single star on the 49ers are out. Guess what's happened the last couple of years, no matter what team the 49ers have played, when they've had one or two of their superstars out, they've lost. And that's just like a fact. Like Trent Williams is out. They're going to struggle and lose. Like it was like that consistently the last 2 years. Now you're saying all of those guys are out and you think that it's going to be a win. Give me the Rams plus 6.5. Sean McVay is going to make sure that he's going to have some type of plan with Kyle Shanahan versus Kyle Shanahan, and it's going to be a close football game. I don't know who's going to win it. I'm not going to place a bet on who's going to win it, but 6.5 points. Give me the Rams plus 6.5.
Yeah, and you know what? What you said is correct. Now, the problem is they're facing a team that's more injury riddled. So I'm going to go 49ers. And now the cover I don't hate. The Rams always find a way to make it close, but there's no way the 49ers lose this game.
Are you taking with the spread 6.5? You got to pick the spread, brother.
He said Rams cover.
Oh,
no. I'll go 49ers. And
the way you said that was really good. That was an ETN type of way.
No. I said I get why you picked them covering because it's a divisional game, but I'm going with the team that's more healthy. So I'm going with the 49ers. Like he's just with them.
Defensively, compared to what the 49ers have, the Rams have DeMarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, and Colby Parkinson making plays because I don't think who? Oh, Jordan, yeah. Can't forget a touchdown against the Lions.
Is Kyron Williams not playing?
Yeah, but they have 4 offensive linemen out. And you're going up. I know Nick Bosa's not out there, but they still have Javon Hargrave, Fred Warner. They got a bunch of guys up front. So I don't think Kyron Williams is going to be able to get loose. And that's not even a knock at Kyron. I just don't think it's a possibility. Like if the Arizona Cardinals put up 41 points on this team last week, I think that the 49ers can at least put up 24. And I don't think that the Rams are going to be able to do that. So I think 49ers win, Boone, but I do think the Rams cover. Meet in the middle.
All right. I'm going to take the Rams. On that last game of the week, besides Monday Night Football, but the last weekend game, Sunday Night Football, Chiefs -3 at Atlanta. I'm going to say this. I know the Chiefs have struggled in games. I wasn't a fan. As I know the Falcons pulled the win out versus the Eagles. There was times in that game I was a little like, what's going on in Atlanta still? Even though they stepped it up and they won the game. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think that's too tough of a task for the Atlanta Falcons. Chiefs -3.
You know what?
Do it.
Where's this at? Where's it at, Boone?
It's in Atlanta.
Give me the Falcons. I think they deliver the Chiefs their first loss. Give me Kyle Pitts. Watch out.
Oh, good Lord.
No, I'm kidding. Anyway, give me the Falcons on the upset.
Yeah, I just don't think so. I think Spags, I think he finds a way to kind of shake up Kirk. I think Chris Jones has a big game. I think Atlanta, they're going to start finding the rhythm here soon. But again, like this is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're going to find a way to win this game. It might not be the prettiest, especially because Pacheco's out. But I just think with the running backs they have, they'll make do. Carson Steele, hey, you've always heard me hype him up in the you're about to find out about Carson Steele. Telling you, he's going to be a very fine back. Probably not like 50, 60 yards, but he's going to be like when you need 2 yards, it's 2nd and 3, 3rd and 3. Carson Steele's going to get it for him. I think Mahomes plays a very good game. It's not going to be huge numbers-wise, but I think between him and Rashee Rice, it'll outproduce Kirk Cousins and Drake London. So give me the Chiefs.
About to find out about that defense. Telling you right now.
Ooh, the Falcons.
They got a defense.
They do, but the Kansas City Chiefs defense won a Super Bowl for them last year.
Yeah, fair.
Fair point. Yeah, maybe.
Fair point. Go on, Boone.
That's all. That's all the NFL games.
All right. You want to do? Well, we don't have to. We can do some college. I mean, at least Michigan. Who are USC? I'll just go now. Loss. USC win.
Bro just wanted to.
Well, it's a 4.5. It's a no, not 4.5. It is. Yeah, 4.5 point spread. UFC 4.5 point favorites on the road in Michigan, which is tough.
Respectful.
Alex Orgy starting this week, Jeff. Alex Orgy, no Davis Warren.
Won't be an orgy in the end zone. Yeah, I'm telling you that right now.
Give me Michigan plus 4.5. How about that? Why don't you sit down over there, huh? Hey, why don't you end the disrespect over there, okay?
Can I? I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. This is not even a disrespectful take. I just don't.
When you start with that, it's usually a little.
No, because I could see how Just was coming off disrespectful. I'm just trying to be. Hey, I'm not trying to kick a man while he's down over there. Okay, you guys are defending.
I mean, I should be kicking you, losing 3 straight years with that weak.
Booner,
take
and
the
what
sweatshirt
happened,
off.
what happened
You shouldn't be wearing that sweatshirt anyways.
Right, what happened 3 years before that? In the 3 years before that.
Really
Either way, we're getting off there. I was just gonna try to give
Urban's on my TV. What is happening right now?
All right. This is where it's telling you, Boone. Just lock in for a second.
All right, sorry about that. That's on.
I think that Michigan's only chance to win the game is if they somehow start out hot. And I think with USC's offense, they're going to find a way to not start off hot, but start off consistently moving the ball down the field. And I just think over the course of the game, Alex Orgy's not going to be able to do that for you. And I think by USC at least wins by a touchdown, at least by 1 touchdown. So give me USC in the big house to win and cover.
All right. I'm going to still stick with Michigan plus 4.5. I get what you're saying. I appreciate you not kicking a man while he's down. I appreciate that. That's some of the worst things that could happen.
Can't do it, Boone.
I don't mind you picking them to cover. Just please don't bet on it, man. I don't want to see you.
I'm not betting this game. I will not bet Michigan probably the rest of the season. Right. I'm out on them. After I lost after I lost the Texas bet, I just said I'm probably out on betting Michigan because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't like Chiron Moore. I'm not a big fan of Chiron Moore until maybe he's out. I'm probably going to be in on this again. But as of right now, like Alex Orgy, listen, if you know, and this is where it frustrates me. If you know you're going to go Alex Orgy after Davis Warren throws 7 interceptions in like 3 games, jeez. Take a man while he's down.
I was about to say that's what that is.
If you know you're going to switch to Alex Orgy, why not down the stretch in the last game? Like, let this man get some pass attempts. Like, let him get a feel a little bit. He has 15 total passing yards on the season right now, and he's about to be your starting quarterback. Like, defenses, it's the easiest thing to probably plan for. He's either going to hand it off or he's going to run the ball himself. So, like, that's where I'm interested to see, especially when his first start, when he really hasn't thrown the balls versus USC, a team that has a prolific offense that you have to keep up with probably. Like, that's where I'm a little concerned, but I'll take the plus 4.5. In the thing. We do have to talk about this game too, out of pure respect. Michigan State is 3-0 heading into Boston College. Boston College is 6.5 point favorites. I'll say this about Michigan State, and this isn't bad, a shot at Michigan State. This is just, and shout out Spenny. Spenny, these guys are like celebrating, like, oh my gosh, we're 3-0. We're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let's talk about who you guys played. Prairie View. Do you guys remember?
Fine program.
I don't know about that. Are you actually saying Prairie View is a fine program?
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Scholarships across the board.
is coming after opponents.
I'm just saying, coming off the national championship, we know what good football looks like. Michigan State's a very fine football team. But, like, saying people being like, oh, Michigan State's so good, they're the best team in the state. Like, let's wait until the Michigan State game before we start crowning who's better. Let's just wait for that one, huh? How about that? You're 3-0 with the Prairie View, Prairie Valley, Prairie. Who knows what their mascot is when, even though it's 40-0, it felt like they just won a 50-0 bowl game. That's what it felt like.
Can I ask you this? This is a bonehead decision, I think. Ryan, and I agree with him 110%. Why would Chiron Moore announce who's starting at quarterback?
Yeah, Chiron Moore's the worst head coach in football, right?
Why wouldn't you say, we don't know, and then just allow them to game plan for Davis Warren, and then it's Alex Orji? Why would you fucking come out and be like, it's Alex Orji? And now it's like, okay, we know who to game plan for.
That's your head coach.
All right. And I get you.
Who you guys taking, though? Michigan State, Boston College -6.5.
Oh, they about to find out what Bill O'Brien's brewing over there.
I love Bill O'Brien. He's good.
Yeah.
They dropped him.
He was blackballed from the NFL. He's another one. Got dirt thrown on his name. Bill O'Brien was quietly. He's a terrible GM. Good head coach, though. Not great, but good.
All right, Booner, you want to get your best bets?
Yeah, I've got 5 best bets this week. We'll go through them quick. Everyone, as I'm going through them, let me know what you guys think, and also start dropping some mailbag questions. You can pull them up whenever you're ready, Jeff. I've got 5, though, here. As always, I typically will put 2 Lions bets.
Good.
Hold on.
Whoa.
I don't know.
There you go.
All right, I was about to say, I don't know about that. I was a little too close to my light.
Lights were too bright.
Yeah, I like the bright lights, but I don't know about that. That was a little different. No, I typically do the 2 Lions bets, guys. First one I have, the West Virginia game, guys. There's something about West Virginia, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. Country Roads. You guys know I love that song too. It's an unbelievable song. I'll sing that all day long. I know they lost to Penn State. They lost to Pitt. They've had 2 tough losses. Like this Pitt loss last week, 38-34. It's a tough loss. And that was a rival game, a big-time rival game. So I think they're going to come in here versus Kansas. Essentially, it's like a 1-point spread, 1.5. I take the money line. I think -120. Country Roads. Someone sing with me here. Take me home to the place I belong. Love the song. West Virginia. All right, West Virginia money line. Give me them over the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas just keeps losing weird games. I love West Virginia. I love Garrett Green. I love that program. Give me West Virginia. Next game. This is a weird one, guys, because I already kind of talked about it, and I forgot I had it in my best bets. The Eagles +2.5 versus Saints. Feels like it's just a little bit of a bounce back game for this Eagles. Klotzy, what did you say? Nick Sirianni, hot seat if they lose. So I think +2.5 getting the points. I love it. Next one, Colts money. Hey, Klotz, you see this right in the middle. You see this in the middle.
I'm trying to do reverse psychology this week, Boone. At least somebody's picking it.
Yeah, this is the thing. When you said the Bears, my heart dropped a little bit because I knew this was coming up, and I went, the one time I'm finally on Klotzy's side when it comes to the Colts, this man's going to fade me. That's a problem.
That means they're going to win this week. Boone.
All right. I do think the Colts, guys, the Bears, I hate this. Bears offense will never move the ball. They'll never move the ball. And this Colts defense, I like the Colts defense. If this offense can just score a couple touchdowns, they win the game. Go score 21 points, and you probably win this football game. That's all it takes to beat the Bears. 21, 24 points, and you win. And I think they do it, especially I think they're at home. It's in Indy, right?
Yeah.
In Indy. Even better. Love it. Next one, the 4th bet here of my best 5 bets of the weekend, Sam LaPorta over 44.5 receiving yards. Guys, I don't see how Sam LaPorta doesn't hit this at the end of the day. Like, I think he starts to get involved a little more. It's very, very well known that not that he's struggling, but that the offense is struggling, and you need to find a way to get it going. And the one common denominator is Sam LaPorta hasn't gotten going. So eventually this guy's going to get going. The week 1, he hit 45. So if he just has that game that he had in week 1 and people still thought that was a quiet game, he's going to hit 45. And that's all we need. So I'm happy with that. And then the next one, guys, might be my favorite one. This might be my favorite one. I had a good friend of mine today send me a picture of a tweet. And you know what? I want to shout out Jim Costa. Hopefully we get him on the show one day. We've had the conversation of potentially getting him on the show. Very, very, very good Detroit sports personality. He does a good job. Someone did send me, though, a tweet today. I won't say who sent it to me, of him chugging the Kool-Aid. I guess he did it before as well. But shout, so me and him, we're Kool-Aid bros. We're Kool-Aid bros. But he put a tweet out today, and he did his best bet as well, and it was the Lions -3. But his explanation behind it was the best I think anyone in the country could probably say. The Lions are 7-0 in their last 7 games following a loss, winning by an average, guys, of 17 points per game. Like, do you guys understand how significant and how insane that is?
A little -3.
7-0 in their last 7 games following a loss, averaging by winning 17 points a game. Like, that's insane. And all of them that Jim Costa said, all were by a minimum of 5 points. I love this play. -3. I'm rolling with Jim Costa. I'm rolling with all 5 of these picks. I love the Detroit Lions on Sunday. I said at the beginning of the show, there is a 0.0% chance that Dan Campbell gets on a flight tomorrow with his team and doesn't have this football team ready to roll. 0% chance. This team is going to be at its best. This might be the best Lions team you've seen over the last 12 months. I cannot wait to see it. This offense is going to be clicking. This defense is going to be better. I cannot wait for this game on Sunday night, because I just want to get all the negativity, all the John Macaroons out there, the docs, all the people who are negative about the Detroit Lions, sit down and just enjoy a fun ride, huh? Why don't we a little bit? Sit down on the Booner path, hop on the bus, and roll with us to victory. Lions win by -3 at least, minimum, on Sunday. Those are my 5 best bet thoughts.
Hey, good job, Boone. Love it. 2 Lions in there. I would say safely those are going to happen. I'm with you. I'm lined at every. I want to, before we end the show here, show off the Run the Ball shirts. Roman, the bat phone. Yay.
No, he hears. He knows.
What happened?
These shirts are insane.
Oh my gosh, I love Roman so much, man.
Look at this.
No way. We need to get that up tonight. We need to get that up tonight.
Gosh.
That's the best piece of merch in the entire state of Michigan.
My. Go get the merch.
Hey, Roman, you are an absolute G, dude. That is the best piece of merch.
This guy's a demon. I mean,
this unbelievable.
God.
We need to get that up ASAP. ASAP.
He hit me up. He's like, "Hey, man, sorry it took so long." I go, "Roman, you stop it right now."
He doesn't ever need to be so. Roman, don't you ever apologize to the fellas. You're an absolute dog.
Don't you dare. This is insane. Great work, Roman. Revive Graphics, guys. This dude is an absolute freaking demon. And this is going up on the store tomorrow, maybe even tonight. I'm going to try and get it up tonight.
I'll stay up and help put it up. Let's get it up tonight. All the people in the chat right now, I bet you we have 5 people or 10 people who are like, I need that.
If we can get
that's a great shirt.
If we can get thousands of people in the stands, there's no way Ben Johnson doesn't see this. I mean, you just have to get in the stands and just see, like, oh shit, run the ball. I love this.
Let Jameer and D-Mont get the shirt and walk up one Sunday wearing those.
Hey, people asking for a hoodie, Jeff. Would that be possible as well?
Hoodies, yes.
We'll get the hoodie. Fall weather, good in hoodies for you guys. Hoodies.
Run the ball.
Get it. Maybe we get some of the big fellas, the O-line. Maybe.
My gosh.
Hey.
We should reach out to some people and see if we can get Graham or something to wear it.
Get some of the big fellas wearing it. So I love it.
We have some connections possibly.
We do.
All right. Hey, by the way, if you guys haven't already, merch is already on the store. We got a Bully shirt, Montgomery. We got Terran Arnold Sub-Zero shirt. Roman's just absolutely been cooking. We got the Run the Ball shirt. We do need maybe we can get this at a later date, but calm down. We need that.
Yeah.
He didn't know. No, maybe we don't.
No, I'm good for any merch as long as people buy it. If we're gonna do merch, I just want the people to buy it.
It says calm down. It has like a silhouette of Hendon Hooker in pregame.
I will personally go on the store and remove it.
With this, crossed out.
Not good enough.
Yeah.
I'll personally go remove it.
Doc wears it when he comes on this week. He's just trolling. Hey, we'll continue to cook. Hey, Roman's going to continue to cook. Help us out here. Get some merch for you guys. Please tune in on Sunday. This is huge. Sunday,
2:30. I think it's 2 hours before.
We'll be there. You be there. Pre-game show, watch party, post-game. We'll be live covering the game. No issues this week. It'll be clean. Talking some ball, hanging out. with the fellas. So be there on Sunday. We'll have content all throughout the weekend.
Shout out Real American Beer.
Have a great weekend, man. Enjoy it. This game on Sunday, man, it's going to be electric. Can't wait for it. If you're going to the game, be safe out there. Don't get into a fight with some Cardinals fans. I feel like every other week we see guys fans fighting each other. So, hey, be safe if you're in Arizona.
Hey, if you're at the game, I just want to throw this out. If you're at the game and get videos of all the Lions fans, send them to our social. We'll post them. I would love to get some videos, even if it's like tailgating or videos of anything. Start singing song, do everything you can. Chant Jared Goff's name. Yeah, do anything and send it to our socials on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'll see it and I'll post it all throughout the weekend if you're in Arizona watching us right now.
Absolutely. Until Sunday, we'll catch you guys. Be safe out there.
Peace.
Clear.